this bit might be. Oh wait, hang on. Something's not right.
Where you were the first voice. I feel like it's always me starting, so this will be new. It'll be you talking first.
So, well, let's see. Here's how it goes. Because either this bit is just going to either work, or you're probably hearing this at the end of the episode.
Got it. All right, go ahead.
Changed everything. So,
yeah.
Okay. So, hey Ryan, I have a question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
This is a legitimate question. I was just in the bathroom peeing before we got ready. Remember, I sent you a message to say, "Hey, I'm going to pee," and then I'm going to.
What a great way to start this podcast,
dude! Can bugs fly like up the fucking tubing and like climb through my toilet? Because this is the second time I've had a mosquito like just appear from the bottom of the bowl and like up while I'm like trying to pee, and I'm like,
I mean, technically there's air in the S with the S, is it called an S pipe or whatever? The U pipe? I don't know what it's called. The fucking pipe that the way that sinks and toilets work and everything. There is a little bit of air in there, so you might have a bug infestation in there.
Oh, that would
But
suck.
also bugs really don't usually live in water, they live in air.
Right. So that's why I'm like really confused.
That's not a stupid question.
Yeah, I was
It's also not a good way to start this episode.
Well, yeah, that's why I figured it was either this way or the other way.
No, you can start it like this, and everyone will just be really disappointed with this episode of I Have More Trophies Than You. Welcome, friends, to I Have More Trophies Than You. This is a video game podcast about video games and the different ways that people play them. I forgot to say that last time. I am your host, Dr. Ryan. Unfortunately, the 70th best gamer in all of North America. 69, unfortunately. I don't think it's going to get back to me because it's been taken over by a new hotshot player to the scene that is playing all of the shitty games that I refuse to play. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to overtake them with normal games. But hey, 70 ain't bad.
70 ain't bad. I mean, you're still better than they're only 60 better.
There's this fucker named Devoted to Trophies with the number 2, and it's all uppercase.
I hate that.
And they're 8 levels ahead of me, so they're a good, what is that? 45,000 points ahead of me. That's like at least 20 to 30 shitty platinums. And I'm just not willing to do it.
I feel like
I'm still playing shitty games, but I'm playing my types of shitty games, not the and we'll get into that when we get to the platinum port. I've got some shitty games to talk about. But I've stayed clean. I've stayed fresh. I have not played any of the Jumping Peas or the Dandy Bees. I've stayed away from Breakthrough Christian Gaming. When I could have easily dipped in, they're making a bunch of like guess the capitals, and I love guessing capitals, but I'm not doing. I might do those ones. I might falter and do those ones because I do like my geography questions.
Well, I feel
like that's okay.
You are in a weird situation because aren't they like about to start cracking down on those like pretty hard?
The thing about that is only one website reported it, and it's a website that nobody has ever heard of. And so like other people were picking up and talking about it, but at the same point it's like this hasn't come from Sony yet. This isn't
there's no like,
this is an internal document that has leaked, and I'm doing quotation marks.
Yeah,
and
there's nothing substantial to
Jeff Gersman reported on it, and he was like, yeah, I've seen documents like this and it does look like something they would put out, but nobody said anything yet. And shitty games are still coming out.
Right.
So like if let me take a quick look here. If I'm not mistaken, give me 1 second. Yeah, like Christmas Run 2 just came out today. The Pig D Deluxe came out the other day. We still got shit like Rocketio, the Jumping Choco Santa Turbo, Monster Truck Journey, 4 stacks of that. So like these shitty games are still coming out.
But there's some murmurs now. Maybe
there's murmurs, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that they're real murmurs.
Yeah,
it could be just some random site did that in an attempt to like make them say something about it. Who knows?
Mhm.
Also, you haven't introduced yourself yet.
Hey, what's up? I'm Chris. I'm the host.
Thanks. Cool. Cool.
I was just like waiting to see how long I could go without saying it.
No, that's
You
not how
caught
we
me.
run our ship. This episode, if you're listening to it right now,
Mm-hmm.
on the day it comes out, because today is, of course, Tuesday the 5th?
I think it's
Tuesday the 5th.
No, it comes out on Mondays. Monday
the 5th is what I meant to say. We're but a mere 4 days from the Game Awards. And I have an important question. Who will get slapped at the Game Awards?
Oh, somebody's got to, right?
Okay,
That's gonna be
this
a
is
bit.
legitimate.
That is a bit
Legitimate.
that will happen.
Are they going to do a shitty bit about somebody
Yes.
coming up and slapping somebody? Oh, fuck. I hate
Absolutely.
that.
They will absolutely do that. There's no way they
fucking-
can't.
Come on, Keely. You're better than that. No, you're not.
Is he
but
though?
still.
No, like he seems like a fine dude. But like, I don't know. Somebody's got to make it.
I'm
If
excited
it's not
for
them, it'll be a trailer. It'll be some kind of something that does it.
Excited for the Game Awards, but not for the awards because the awards are bullshit and they're all rigged. Last year
Right.
taught us that with fucking It Takes Two bullshit. But I'm excited because I would like to see some more. 2023 is very sparse in set dates,
Right.
and I would like some set dates. But man, speaking of games coming out, all of a sudden shit's coming out. If you're listening to this, Callisto just came out on Friday. They just announced that Neon White is coming to PlayStation next week.
Yo.
I'm playing the fuck out of that.
All right.
Crisis Core is still coming out.
Yeah, that's right. That comes out in a week's time, right?
We got shit on the horizon. And the shitty part about that is I want to play some of this shit so that we can talk about it on Game of the Year.
Ooh.
But like, you know, I got...
That's
if you're listening-
worst thing about games in December. I wish that all the game companies would just decide like, hey, no games in December.
Well, they have to put
no
out games
games
in December. Always games have to come out. It's just that the games in December are always terrible because things get lost in the wayside. But
Right.
I want to give some stuff its due, but I got a lot of stuff to do. Hey, this is the last podcast you'll hear of me at the age of 36. By next podcast, it'll have been my birthday.
Oh my god.
I'll be going out of town possibly for something you might see on the internet from San Diego, California. No dates have been announced and nothing has been said yet, so I don't want to tell tales out of school, but if you know what I'm talking about, you might know what I'm talking about. And then like, you know, Christmas, I want to spend that with my family. And so it's like, there's limited days and I work. I've got to go to work and see my patients. Time is limited and games are coming out. And it's my duty as the host of a podcast,
the number one video game podcast.
the number one video game podcast that definitely is not my job and is not as important as my patients, but I take very seriously. I do. That I want to play these games. It's like, I got to get some Callisto in. I got to get some but here's the thing. And I picked up some shit on Black Friday. Like I played a game over this Black Friday weekend so that I could talk about it for Game of the Year. And I'm glad I did, even though it's dog shit. But it's like, I also picked up some games. It's like, these are games that came out this year that I want to play, but I know I'm not gonna be able to get to. And so
do we have
there's
a
too
Black
much
Friday
stuff.
special of Ryan's new and old magical bag of games or whatever we
call it that? You call it that. It's called Ryan's Cool Pickups.
Ryan's new and cool magical bag.
If you say magical bag one more time, I quit. Yeah, really quick on Black Friday. So on Black Friday, I picked up a Plague Tale Requiem, Tiny Tina's Borderlands, Paw Patrol Grand Prix, Bratz Flaunt Your Fashion, a PS4 copy of Resident Evil Village, and then one more game that I will talk about in length when we get into the Platinum Report. What'd you get on Black Friday? Did you get anything?
I bought nothing.
Oh, also, and one
I
more
didn't
game
buy
that
a
is a
goddamn
digital
thing.
game. I bought a digital game that I really want to talk about because right now it's hell of cheap.
Mhm.
It's you know, we'll get to it because I want to talk about some other. Well, did we want to talk about anything else before we get into the Platinum Report? I feel like the post introduction pre-Platinum Report is when we get our sillies out.
Right.
And those have been some very good. I've been getting report that's pretty good, and I'm just trying to skip by that today, and I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry.
No worries. Dude, you know what? I say we get into the Platinum Report.
since last episode, I have gotten 13 new platinums and finished the DLC to a game. And in that set, I have played 2 of the worst games of 2022.
Oh my god. That's pretty bold. Well, hang on. You say worst games, and I know you want to put Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise.
No, I didn't.
That, so don't even think to include it.
I didn't.
Like,
I didn't
already. I'm
play
psychic
that.
battle beating you already. Like I've already figured.
I played 2 games worse than Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise in this last.
I like to hear that.
Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise is still a bad game, but it's not terrible on the level of these 2 games. First of all, we talked about it last episode, but I finally finished up Sonic Frontiers.
Yes.
Fuck that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I legitimately have not played a single second more.
Boring. It is repetitive, and it is got. So how it works is on each island, it's really just, hey, get a bunch of these tokens, go talk to whatever character. All right, then go get some keys to get a Chaos Emerald, and then go get some more tokens to talk to a character, and then get some keys to Chaos Emerald. And you're just doing that over and over again. And then at the end, it's always like, throw in some little mini games, like you got to herd these Cocos, you got to do this. They're boring. It doesn't control well, and it plays like shit. But on one of the islands, one of the things to do is this. It's a really shitty pinball game that reminds me of like. Do you remember that pinball game that came on like Windows 95 that you would play in computer lab at school? It's that, and you have to get 5 million points. Except that hitting a thing is only 100 points.
Oh no.
And you can get a multiplier that makes it better, but the thing is you have to do it in 3 lives, and it's a very simple board. It's just the 2 flippers, there's 1 loop and a couple things, but the way that they built it, it's very simple. All you're trying to do is get this randomly, this red ring will pop up somewhere on the board, and you get that, and you get a multiplier, and the multiplier goes 2, 4, 8, 16. So you get it up, and then that 5 million is a little bit easier. The problem is if your ball goes out, you lose your multiplier. And they did it in such a way that's like, all right, just flip it up and it'll go around. And there's no tilt, there's no nothing. So randomly the ball will just go into the side things, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Great. Wonderful.
It's a completely random thing that you cannot control. That thing took me a fucking hour. And then when I finally did it, I was like, I hit the 5 million points. I was like, I did it. Why isn't this still going? And then it's like, oh, you need to hit the middle thing. And while I was realizing that, it hit the side thing, went out, and I had to start all over again.
Oh my god!
So it took me another 30 minutes to get back to 5 million points. It was fucking insufferable. The one cool thing is it's got a mini game that's like Ikaruga.
Okay.
And then the end of boss fight, if you're not playing on the hardest difficulty, is just a cutscene.
What?
Oh yeah.
What do you mean?
No, the end. So you do each of these islands and you're fighting. I skipped all the cutscenes, so I don't know what the fucking story was.
I was about to ask you, did you enjoy the story that apparently is still tied to that is apparently tied to the IDW comic?
I don't. There's some bullshit. I skipped every cutscene. I could not give 2 fucks. The only good thing in that game is there are only 2 good things in this game. Ready? That Ikaruga minigame and Big the Cat. Because when you go fishing, the fishing minigame is very simple and kind of like repetitive, but you catch ultra realistic fish, and then Big the Cat's there and be like, oh, yo, you're my rod. Good job, Sonic. Oh yeah, and the music of those cyberspace levels is legitimately great. It sounds like some fucking rave shit from a Club Sega from like 1999, but the gameplay is ass. When we get to Game of the Year spoilers, I'll probably be nominating this category not for best music and worst game.
I still want to play a little bit more of it, but yeah,
but so the ending of that game is it's 5 islands, right? And at the end of each one, you fight a boss as Supersonic, and it controls like shit. And then after you fight the last boss on the last island, it goes to another scene that says the end, and you go into space and you're fighting something in space. And if you played that game on the hardest difficulty, the final boss is a harder version of Ikaruga, like Ikaruga-ass Ikaruga. If you played it on normal or easy, it's just a cutscene. That's with really one quick time event. So fuck that game.
I still want to play a bit more of it, but yeah, I've had no desire or drive.
I'm giving it. If it wasn't for the music and Big the Cat, it would get a 0. It's getting a 1 and no trophy. Last time I said a bronze. I'm downgrading it to no trophies.
I kind of want to catch up in the comics now because the guy that got to write specifically the dialogue of the characters, Ian Flynn, he was the head of the Archie comics for like the longest time. He was like their golden era of like where I was saying like, hey, this is weird for me to say as a comic book store clerk, but this Sonic book is really good right now. And if you know,
is that the fucker that came to your comic book store and said, "Oh, if you want, I'll sign this and get it"?
No. That's the Pickle Rick fucker.
No, that's the Pickle Rick fucker. That's right. Okay, sorry.
I would just sell the comic because it was just a really well written comic, like in that late 2000 aughts, you know.
I can't speak to if the writing's good because I skipped all the cutscenes.
That's the thing is that this week he was saying that like it was a stupid comment where he was just like, I'm not saying that they're not tied to the comics, but like Sega has been pretty evident that they want to start crossing all of the Sonic stuff together so that it's a cohesive like world, and they're just hiring now for a lore manager and stuff. So it's like, I feel like maybe I should read the comics and then see if like, oh yeah, like there's some validity to this. And like, maybe if you do read the comics, then you get a little bit more of the story stuff, but I
do yourself a favor. Just put it on easy. The actual like fighting mechanics and everything like mechanic wise in the game is ass. So just put it on easy. So I platinumed that twice because I platinumed it all on PS4 and then it wasn't a full auto pop. It let me transfer the save over. All I had to do was there was one trophy for you get this upgrade called Phantom Breaker, which is when you hit the combo, like if you do enough damage
50 times or something.
Yeah, you have to do it 50 different times. What it is when you hit enemies, your combo meter will fill up, and if it fills up, you go into Phantom Breaker mode and you do like more damage. The problem with that is that I even try like on easy, you kill enemies too quick to ever get a combo up. And so I tried putting it up, and when I put it up so that they wouldn't take as much damage, they were doing fucky shit that like it was harder to get a combo. So what you do is on the first island, there's these like mini bosses called Titans. One of them is a big giant statue where his legs are impenetrable. So I just sat there for like 30 minutes and hit his legs 50 times. And then you have to beat the final boss again, which sucks, but whatever. So I got those 2 platinums. Those games are ass. Next game I platinumed was Psychonauts 2, which is the one for this episode. I have nothing but maybe a couple gripes, but I have very good things about Psychonauts later in this episode. You know what? Should I start saying how long these games took me, or do we not give a shit?
Yeah, because I'm curious.
Okay, so Sonic Frontiers, 3 days and 14 hours. Now that is, you know... so then Sonic Frontiers on PS5, 23 minutes. Psychonauts 2, 2 days, 15 hours.
Damn.
Next game I played was on Black Friday, which is I was waiting for my copy of Goat Simulator 3 to come in, so I decided to finally go back. I had platinumed Goat Simulator on the PS4, but I never played it on PS3. So I did it on PS3 really quick. Took me about 4 hours, and that's only because one of the trophies is for doing their Flappy Bird Simulator, and their Flappy Bird game sucks absolute shit. Because the square, so you know Flappy Bird, right?
Yeah.
Hit the button. The thing about the classic, the way that theirs works is that it's a little goat, but the thing is that the sprites, like the hitbox for the goat, is bigger than the actual.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So sometimes you'll just
space
the actual space that you see. Sometimes you'll just be going through. All you have to do is get through 10. You figure 10, that's so easy. It's not. It's very fucking hard. I kept dying on, and was worse as a couple times I died on 9, and it was like, fuck.
You just throw your controller across the room.
I'd say the whole game took me about 2.5 hours, and then the next hour and a half was just on Flappy Goat. But yeah, because sometimes you'll just be going through, and you're like, oh, you died. It's like, I'm not anywhere near this. How is this fucking fair? So it's like this just random thing of you have to get lucky and hope you hit it. But I got through Goat Simulator. Goat Simulator 3 has come in. I didn't mention that because I already put it on my shelf, but I do have Goat Simulator 3 now. I'd like to try to give that a whirl before the end of the year. Really quickly on that day too, what did I do? Oh, I went through and I quickly did that new DLC pack to Deathloop, the Golden Loop expansion.
Mm-hmm.
I stress to call this an expansion. If you have never played Deathloop, this is some cool shit they added in that's like extra shit. If you've already played Deathloop, this shit is not even like, it took me, I think, less than 40 minutes.
Oh,
because
no.
it's like it's only 4 trophies.
Right.
One is for, wait, hold on, let me look. Yeah, it's 4 trophies. One is they added a new optional mini boss called the Garbage Collector. You have to go to the bay at afternoon and you go down into this garbage dump, and it's just some guy. And I just fucking went in there. Like, there are all these strategies people said, and I just went in there with my Ultimax fucking auto shotgun, and I turned on the power that makes you do more damage, and I just shot him in the head till he died.
And of course, the achievement is called Garbage Day.
Garbage Day,
of course.
There was a trophy for getting the new. They added like a laser gun, and if you disintegrate one of the visionaries. So getting the laser gun was a little bit of a puzzle, but not really. It was like, make this laser hit this thing. It took 2 seconds. Then you go to, since I'm already done with the game, I just go to where I've set up to have 2 of them at once. Walk into the place, laser the guy in the head. The third one was they added this new machine you can get these little trinkets, which are like, you put them on weapons and they give them new powers. And they added this new thing of like, you can get extra special trinkets by doing this little mini game. Very simple. The hardest one was this one that they added a new type of enemy that throws these paint bombs. And what you have to do is you have to sneak up, kill one without him seeing you, because if he sees you, he suicide bombs himself with these fucking paint bombs. So you have to kill him without them seeing it, grab one, then go find another dude, throw it at his feet, and shoot it and have it kill the guy. It was a little fucky.
Yeah, it sounds pretty fucky. I mean,
that one, like the Garbage Day one took me like a minute. The prototype one took me about 5 minutes because I had to get the thing and the other thing. The double trinket one, you have to do this mini game that takes like 5 minutes, whatever. Those were all simple. And then it was about 30 minutes of just like reloading my save to, okay, I got to go here, kill this guy, blah, blah. Of like, doing, because it's always in the same place, so it's just getting the pattern right and making sure somebody walk in front of me, whatever.
Damn.
If you already have the game and you don't care about trophies, it's not worth going back to. If you already have the game and you care about trophies, it's quick. If you've never played the game before, this shit is added in immediately, and so it's just some new extra stuff for some new weapons and some new powers while you're doing the whole game. It's a fine update.
Just sweetens the pot.
It's free, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The next 5 games. So, by the way, I finished. Let's put some dates in here. I finished fucking Sonic Frontiers on the 20th of November.
Mm-hmm.
The next, all of the from Psychonauts until the next 5 games, these were all on Black Friday because I finished Psychonauts 2, and I want to say 1:45 in the morning on Black Friday. Because I stayed up to beat it, then slept in, and then it's like did some Black Friday shopping, came home, and then just played some games, and then started the other game that I'll shit on at the end of the night. But the next 5 games I played, I don't know their titles because it's all in Japanese. So I'm gonna send you something here, and you tell me, what does this say?
Well, I'm actually looking at your PSN profile.
Oh, okay, great. Cool. Starting with the one right over Deathloop, read those for me. The 5th one's in English, so I know what that is. Right. And I know they're part of the Grisaya series, which is, if you've been listening long enough, months ago, I had gotten 2 games because they were on sale on PlayAsia and they were very cheap and easy Vita visual novel platforms called La Eden de Grisaya and La Fruit de Grisaya. Well, one night, about a month ago, I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning just looking at Vita games. It's like, there's 5 more games in this Grisaya series. I might as well finish these. And I bought them all. And they were like anywhere ranging from $40 to $60 a piece because I had to import them. But, that sick part of my brain that is just like, well, you need to have the platinums from the whole series or else what's the point? Exactly. So I import all these games. What are these games called?
Okay, so the first 2 are Grisile Phantom Trigger.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's like Phantom Trigger 1 and Phantom Trigger 2.
Phantom Trigger 1 and 2 and Phantom Trigger 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Then I'm assuming the next one's Grisaya Phantom Trigger side episode or something?
Yeah, it's Grisaya no oh my god, Kajitsu.
Okay.
Which I'm not. Kajitsu is just like, I don't know, mystery, I guess.
Yeah, okay, so I'll tell you what this series is after. Why don't you translate the last one for me and I'll tell you what this series is.
Right. Let's see. The last one is It's Grisino Kajitsu Spin out?
Spit out. Yeah. Okay.
Suru Michiru?
What does that mean?
I have no clue. Suru
Anyway.
is just kind of like, that's just like an onomatopoeic, like, God, I don't know what would make
it doesn't matter.
Like it's just annoying.
It's like a Doki Doki heartbeat thing.
Yeah.
First game, 6 minutes and 36 seconds to platinum. Second game, 4 minutes and 55 seconds to platinum. Third game, 10 minutes and 24 seconds to platinum. Fourth game, 11 minutes, and the last game, 29 minutes. These are all visual novels, and of all 5 of those, only one of them had any choices. Those first two, the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, are literally just watching movies.
Right.
And so I don't read Japanese, so I just press the auto button, and it just got all the platinums. I looked up what it is. Grisaya is apparently...
Is it forbidden fruit?
It's a harem anime where you're a guy sent to a school of assassins and you date all the girls.
Yeah.
So it's like, but for playing the game, you get pictures of like, they don't show nip or anything, but there's a lot of side boob and butt and stuff like that. So now I have the whole Grisaya series on Vita, all 7 of them. But I don't know. It's like, do I keep them? What do I do with them? Because I'm never going to play them again, and I don't speak Japanese, and they're worth about $50 a piece.
Oh my God.
If anyone wants to send me $300, I'll send you all these Grisaya games. So the next game, after that, I started playing the game that I platinumed today, but the rest of the platinums I got today.
Was the spin out one, was that some kind of fucking idol anime shit? Because I see idol in the name. Yeah, okay.
So that's like, okay, so the first two, the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are like apparently closer to the anime. The side episode is some side shit that they made. That spin out one it was like more cutesy in anime, and it's like, what if the girls were idols? And then Labyrinth of Grisaya was like a bunch of side shit. It was like, the reason it took 30 minutes is it was like 50 different like side episodes that are all like a minute long.
Interesting.
Then I spent like the next 5 days playing, I'll just say it, Saints Row, because that's the other game I got for Black Friday. I will get to that. I will get to that in a second. Why?
Because I feel like I wanted to play this game to see how bad it was.
You don't, and I'll explain it. I want to talk about a good game first.
Sure.
Currently, as of recording today, there's a game that is I want to really talk about it. It's on sale for 60 cents. It's usually $6. I don't know if the sale is still going. So by the time you hear this, it might be over. There's this game called Sagebrush. It is a PS1 looking walking simulator, but it's one of the coolest, creepiest games I've played all year. It's from 2019, so unfortunately it doesn't count for any Game of the Year stuff. But I don't want to spoil too much, but let me just set up how this game starts. It starts with you listening to a voice tape recording of a girl saying how she was alone at a bus stop until this lady walked up and told her about Father James. Mm-hmm. You're hearing this as you're driving up to a gate, and then it stops. It's all first person. Your dude gets out of a car. Once again, these look like PS1 graphics, and it just says, I forget what it says, like property 250 miles outside of Albuquerque, Texas. Site of the 1993 Perfect Heaven mass suicide.
The fuck?
It's about a 1 hour game. It is a PS1 walking simulator about going to the site and learning about a cult mass suicide.
What the fuck?
It's fucking cool. I don't want to say too much. I'll say this. If you want to know how like fucked up this game is, and you might want to delete, if you're hearing beeps here, it's because what I'm about to say might be too much to say on this. But Chris, there's a part in this game where you're going through and you get into like the cult leader's the rectory, which is just his house. You walk into this room and it's just a bedroom with a big giant bed with satin sheets and a bunch of pillows and a video camera.
Oh no.
And then you find a piece of paper that says, the Angel Serial has told me about a new thing called alternative cleansing, which is the way to get rid of your sins instead of through blood is why not lay with a clean being? So the only clean being, by the way, is Father James. But laying with him will wash you of your sins. But this is only available to women.
Yeah. That's how cults work. That's how it works.
And then later, this is a late game spoiler, so definitely bleep this. This is just for you. You get into his secret room and you find on his desk where he's got all these writings, there's a box with a bunch of cocaine and a crack pipe. And you see all his insane ramblings, and you get to one that says, through context clues, you're learning about these characters, and there's like a... We'll have to think about this later.
Fuck?
It's fucked up. It's a good game, though. I love
the fuck?
You're going to bleep that, right?
Yeah, we got to bleep that. Because here's the thing. It's like you were going and I was like, okay. And then there was one point you hit and it was just like, yeah, we can't. That literally, we can't put in there.
Bleep this part too. bleep the following part. This is just for you. Uh-huh. There's this part where you go into the cleansing room, because that's alternative cleansing, is fucking him. So what's cleansing, you might ask? Well, you get the thing to go to the cleansing, which is a barn. You walk in and all of a sudden you just see this bloody altar with an axe on it and a giant sign that just says, "Sin is debt. Your blood is thy payment." And you find a bunch of like text that before he decided to start fucking, this whole cult is based on his. So there's no, unbleep. There's no enemies. It's literally just walking around reading texts. So like it is it is a walking simulator, but there are puzzle elements like, you'll find a thing saying, you'll find this like box and it needs a code to get in because it's got a lock. And then you'll find a thing saying, I've changed the code to the day I was saved. And then you have to go through and look through like somebody's diary and shit.
Right.
And once again, it looks like a PS1 game. My only like gripe with the game is at the end of the game, after you see the big reveal. Which, do you want to know the big reveal? Or are you going to play this? Or you want to know?
You know what? I think I might play this because I was about to say this is like the
go buy it now.
It's you've 60... come to me in December with like, hey, there's this weird kind of like PlayStation 1 graphic style like indie game you should check out. Inscription last year.
Oh yeah.
Because I fucking ended up loving that, and like the more you talk about this, I'm like, I'm not really into like spooky, scary stuff, but it sounds interesting.
It's 60 cents right now instead of $6. I'd see if it's on sale right now for 60 cents. Well, it was on sale for 60 cents yesterday when I bought it and I played it today. So hopefully it's still on sale. But
what's it called? Yeah, no, something sagebrush.
One word.
Gotcha.
It's very good. There's another stack from Europe. If I ever get Europe money again, I'll play it again. It's very good. I like it a lot. That's all I'll say about it. A lot of that conversation is going to be bleep, but if you're out there and you think cults are weird and creepy and interesting, Sagebrush. Then I played, I finished up a couple of games. I was using my what's called my Backbone. I told you about the Backbone, the thing where I can play on my phone. I bought 2 games to play yesterday because I thought I was going to have a little bit of a lull in patience, and then that event, like immediately when I was like, I'm going to have like 30 minutes off here, I'll buy some fun little puzzle game and just play it at work, when I'm bored. And then of course people called in and I never got to play it, so I just played it together. I played Pretty Girl Escape, which is the Pretty Girl series we've talked about. That's where I was playing all those Mahjong games. They made like a block puzzle game. It was $6. It was just a little puzzle game. It took me about 15 minutes each, whatever. And then today I want to give a big shout out. My last fun little just side thing for me. Sagebrush, that cult game, was my 1,666 trophy. I thought that was good. Not on purpose. It was a little accident. I thought that was funny. I want to shout out friend of the site, John Taffer, who helped me get the final trophy in Saints Row, which was a co-op only trophy. So shouts out John Taffer. Thank you so much for helping me. Since the last 5 days I've been playing Saints Row, and I'm here to say Saints Row is fucking miserable. It is not
did we not expect this to happen?
Well, no. It's worse than you think.
Is it really though?
Well, let me. I'll tell you.
Tell me.
Because most people think it's like, it's bad because it's it's not really Saints Row,
right?
But it's also fucking broken.
Oh no!
I had 8 separate hard crashes. Okay. I had problems with the game just randomly. Sometimes when I'd start a mission, it would unequip a lot of my guns and skills. Sometimes it would glitch out and like mess up my character model. A lot of the times when I'm driving, it has such terrible like what's it called? Pop in? Is that what the word I'm looking for? When things like just appear all of a sudden?
Just pop in. Yeah.
A lot of the times when you're being chased in cars by police, they'll just pop a dude in literally right in front of you. One time they popped in a car inside of my car and it just went flying.
Oh God.
There's nothing I can do about it. And it made me immediately fail the mission because I was on a mission to like don't get hit. Saints Row. Okay. We did an episode on Saints Row the Third. We know about Saints Row the Third. Saints Row the Third is great because of the style.
No, I don't think we agreed on that. I think we both agreed that it was a okay game for its time, but it's like dated. It doesn't feel very good nowadays.
Shut the fuck up, you loser. It's one of the best games of all time. It's one of my top 10 games of all time. That game was great because they went balls to the wall. They knew what they were doing, and it had charm, and it felt like these people were making something fun. This Saints Row feels neutered, terrible, and like they're aping on remembering that. They so hard okay, so do you remember the part in Saints Row the Third when you're jumping out of the helicopter to Power by Kanye? Which now that scene sucks. Oh my gosh. Did you see the shit today? Did you see the shit today?
I woke up today, looked at Twitter, and I was just like, wow, that's one way we're starting the day, I guess.
Hey, how crazy do you have to be to make Alec Jones look like the sane and liberal one?
Well, I don't know if he did that.
He got Kanye. Kanye got Alex Jones to say he does. Yeah. Hey, Kanye got Alex Jones to say that he's against Nazis. So. Yeah,
there were definitely moments where like Alex Jones like broke the character and was like, I can't agree with you on that. Like, it was like, oh my God, what is happening to? But hey, Kanye is running for president. Maybe we should give him a shot, right?
He said he was talking about this. So there's this. He was talking about one of his he's gotten into art because he was talking about this painter. You might have heard of him.
little known painter.
Little known painter.
He's popular in the early 1900s.
I don't say popular. Anyway,
popular is one way of putting it.
anyway, so. No, but you know what I'm talking about. There are parts in Saints Row the Third where there's this big moment and they have really good use of song. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But they only do it a couple times. The ones from that game that everyone talks about is the power moment, and also at the end of the game when you're racing to get your friends and they play "I'm Holding Out for a Hero."
Oh yeah. That's good shit.
And then there's the Santeria part, but whatever. This game, they try to do it way too many times, and it's never good. Yeah. Like there's a part where you're trying to break out of a prison and they play Get Free. That's I wanna get free. It's like, it doesn't really work. There's a part where they play DMX when you're like blowing stuff up, but it feels soulless.
Rest in peace.
The story of this game is so bad that much like Sonic, I gave it a shot and then I just started skipping all the cutscenes because I couldn't do it. Because like the story of this game is that they're in this made-up town called Santa Alessa, which is supposed to be like Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you're the boss, but there's no reason to be called the boss because you're not the fucking boss of anything. And you work for this paramilitary security company called Marshall, which is like, they're all like cyber cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
And you live in an apartment with your three best friends. This fucking dork-ass nerd loser dude named Eli. This fucking like trippy, like I don't even know what they describe it. He's like a raver kid, and his whole character is that he doesn't like wearing a shirt, and that's the joke the whole time. Oh, why don't you put a shirt on? And then at the end of the game, like the bad guy makes him put a shirt on. It's like, wow, you made him put a shirt on. I'm gonna kill you for that. It's really fucking stupid. And then that guy's name is Kevin, and then there's a girl named Nina who's like the mechanic for the like the car gang. And you guys, even though everyone's in different gangs, you're all in an apartment and you live together, and it's like, oh, we gotta do crimes to pay the rent. And the whole time they're talking about like, oh, we can only steal from Saints Row the Third worked because the Saints were fucking maniacs. They were bad people. They were terrible people, but that made them funny. What they're trying to do with this is make everybody they're the criminal with a heart of gold. And they only rip off bad guys. And one of them cares about is like, well, we can't do that crime because that might increase our carbon footprint. That's a real line from the game.
Environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can only do this crime if we put a money in our 401ks afterwards. And so it's you're all different gangs, and then you
smash my head against the keyboard.
You get kicked out of your gang, and they try to kick the other people out of their gangs, and so you find this church. You're like, well, we'll start our own gang called the Saints, and then the story is just getting back at each gang, and then there's no real big giant story. There's a story about you breaking this dude out of jail, and then he turns on you, and then and that's the dumbest part. So the beginning mission of this game is when you're working for that Marshall company, you break out this guy, or you capture this bad criminal called the Nawali. That's just his name. And then halfway through the game, you break him out because like you need him to rob a train, and then the end of the game is that he gets jealous that you have friends, and so he backstabs you and steals your friends to take them to his like big giant tower, which is the final mission of the game, where he can keep them there and make them pretend that they're his friend in this weird like neurotic like I just wanted the bad guy just always wanted to have friends, and so I'm gonna take your friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucking
it
terrible.
Sounds just fucking boring and dumb. And
so that's
answer
the worst
question
part
for me real quick. It's completely unrelated to the previous stuff, right? Like there's no mention of the original Saints or anything, right?
Not directly. There is like they talk about Stillwater on the news, which is Stillwater is the city from 1 and 2,
right?
And like Planet Saints, which is the store that you set up in 3 to like sell your shit, is in it. Mm-hmm. There's like ham-handed, like, you know, the Death Blossom guns that the Deckers used in 3 is in it. They're like little references, but it's in a new separate.
Okay.
It's like this is like the Ghostbusters 2016 of Saints Row. The problem with this is that there is a good game on the side, like so. Outside of the shitty story there, the overall like side mini game of taking over the city is kind of cool. What it is each district you can set up a side business, and each of the side businesses like, hey, so in this town, in this part of town, I'm going to set up a shady hospital that is actually so that we can do insurance fraud and, you know, bilk insurance companies. And then because of that, you unlock the insurance fraud mini game that was in the original ones. And that sounds good. Except in this game, the insurance fraud is broken. Do you remember the insurance fraud minigame where it was like flinging yourself in front of cars and using the right? Yeah. Now in this game, they did that, but it's fucking broken so that when you start the insurance fraud minigame, it despawns all the traffic. The thing you need to do it. So what you have to end up doing, because you have to get the platinum, you have to do all of these side missions, is that you have to go find a bunch of parked cars. You press R2 to fall on them, and you just wiggle the right joystick so that it doesn't kick you off the car until you get your adrenaline meter up. And then every time you touch a car, it explodes, and then you just have to chain. It drags you all in the air, and then you have to land on cars over and over again to get your meter up to get the money, which is not the way that you're supposed to play that. But because the game is so fucking broken, it's the only way you can do it. And then there's some that are like that one's broken, but then, you know, you've got one where it's like, oh, I set up this repossession business, and so it's going to these different places, you know, towing up cars and then getting them back while the police are chasing you. And that's fun, except there's like 3 other different missions that are just like that. So it's like there are these fun little things, and then they either fuck it up or they're like, oh, this is good. Let's reuse it and reskin it 5 times and just do that. So it's like they were so close, but the game still kind of plays like ass a little bit. And unlike before, where it's all in a city, here, since you're like in this Vegas, you know, counterpart, the outside of it is this Badlands area where you're like in the desert. And they added this thing that if you're driving in any of the desert and your car doesn't have the off-road components to it, sometimes randomly it'll just veer to the right. but you can only upgrade your car with those components at like 4 different places in town. And sometimes you'll just be in the middle of the nowhere and grab a car. It's like, well, this car doesn't have it, so now I'm just trying to drive and driving like shit. So the controls feel like shit.
That's so bad. They couldn't have done anything else to like just make traction worse or something.
So
like,
there's an entire side plot in this game. Right. There's an entire side plot in this game where your dork ass friend in the glasses wants to play in a LARP in the desert. And it's some of the dumbest bullshit. Like all the missions in this game are the same. Go to play, shoot the guy, go to play, shoot the guy. That's the other biggest sin against it is like looking at Saints Row 3 and 4, they added the Deckers Not Die mission. They had like, the blood, I forget what it's called, but the one where you had the big giant like wrestling tournament. They added more things than just go and shoot dudes. Right. And this game is nothing but go and shoot dudes. So they had this thing where it's like, you're going to go in a LARP and you have to use LARP guns, that don't shoot bullets. And when you do your takedown moves, they're pretend because, you're just playing games. You're not allowed to use weapons. But then it's just shoot the guy in the head. Like there's no difference. And they're talking like idiots. And this is coming from someone who has LARPed. These people are fucking dorks.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they didn't have a single. I'm sure not one person in that studio working on that game had LARPed before and just wrote as some stereotypical the writer's room version.
The trophies in this game, with the so first off the bat, it's got a co-op only trophy. That sucks because you have to find someone else who has this game, which is hard. A lot of the trophies are literally just for doing almost 100%. You have to 100% the city. You don't have to do 100% of the shit in the desert, but you do have to go in the desert and find like some very specific collectibles. Mm-hmm. But it just turns into like there's a trophy for getting collectibles for your base. You can just go around town and sometimes statues or big signs will be glowing blue and you can take a picture of them and then you can put like you have slots in your church at your base to like customize it. Does nothing, just for fun. That's the other big thing is that when a game does this where it's like I'm going to put here and I can level up my hospital. I like that when then that hospital gives me a bonus.
Right.
Does not happen. The one exception is there's a radio station where if you gift that up, it'll make it so that when people call in units, like when you're notarized up and someone will try to call in, it makes them take longer so you can stop them. And B, it gives you contacts on your phone to call them in case you need your wanted level up with some faction for specific trophies. The problem with that is that is bugged that after you do it, every 10 minutes, the game thinks you're still on that mission, gives you the animation of the guy calling you to tell you what it is, stops your action, and makes you look at the tutorial for how those missions work again.
Oh my God.
But most of the trophies are collectibles. Some of them are like, kill a person with a specific weapon, do a specific thing with a car. There was this trophy for doing what's called 10 crimes of opportunity, which are randomly on the map. Sometimes this little money bag will appear. And what it is you go around and you find like 3 idiots around an ATM machine they just stole. You shoot them in the head and you take the ATM machine. The problem is that for the first 20 hours of the game, none of those spawned. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I read online, it's like, oh yeah, if you don't like save the game and quit out every couple hours, they just stop spawning.
Yeah, that, I really wonder if there's like some kind of like developing trick or some kind of processing trick that video game companies are using now to get over the whole like not loading thing, for like solid state drives and whatnot. Because when I would play, Spider-Man was a good example of this. When I would play Spider-Man for several hours, like I'd start running into a lot more like problems and whatnot. And like enemies would stop spawning at certain points. And I just kind of always pin that to like, oh yeah, that's just, I guess I have to restart the game at some point.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that more. Like I'll do it in Sonic and just any kind of game now. I'll turn it off every 4 or 5 hours. But like, I wonder if there's something that game developers are doing that is causing
fucking hate
this.
It because my favorite thing is to play a game and it's like, oh, I'm at lunch, I'm play this game, and then I can pause it, put it into rest mode,
yeah,
and then come home and start playing again.
Yeah,
they've eliminated I got to get to the next checkpoint, or I've got to get to the. It's like there are no such thing as checkpoints anymore. I can stop whenever I want, and for a game to do that, it's like, oh well, great, and I can't do that.
Yeah, because it defeats the purpose. That's why I've kind of like, I just turned my PlayStation off. Like I just don't even run rest mode anymore because it's like every time I do that, if I turn the game back on, it's gonna think that I've been still playing it for however many hours I was playing it before then. And then the game starts getting super buggy and things start happening that don't normally happen. And I'm like, man, this is a just poorly made game. But the more I start hearing this and then you saying this again, it's starting to think now that this might be like a I don't want to call it a console issue, but like feels like there's something going on that maybe we're not kin to,
No, because I think the instances of this happening are few and far between. This isn't that didn't happen,
right?
No, it's few and far between because that didn't happen to me at all. I've played so many open world games lately that I'll give it to this. That didn't fucking happen in Sonic. That didn't fucking happen in God of War. I didn't have any of those problems in Psychonauts. I think it's just this game runs like shit.
I started getting weird bugs in God of War when I was playing like the 2018 one. I've even got a video of it because like I started clipping through like walls and stuff, and I was like, "What is going on?" And then
were you playing it on a PS5 or were you playing it? There has been instances of PS4 games being weird on PS5. So
yeah, in which again, Spider-Man is the other one that I had a lot of issues with, where it was always me. It would always be me catching it like, oh, I've been playing this game for like 7 hours. Like
I feel like that's not
now hit issues. So like I
don't know. I do want to say the one other thing is that this game has a significant bug also that made me scared for some trophies because there are a couple trophies tied to their challenge system. So you have these perks and you get a perk for you have to complete 48 out of like however many challenges there are. And these challenges are like these things are like, you'll do 2 to 3. It's usually 2 to 3. It's actually, I think it's almost always 3 with the exception things. It's like, kill 10 people with this gun, kill 15 people with this gun, drift for this long. And if you do all of the ones in a category, you do that challenge, you get another perk. The problem is sometimes the game just decides, we're not counting that. And
I love it.
There are a couple where it's like, I did everything right. And it's just like, no, it didn't work. And then, 15 hours later it would work, but I'd already completed it, so it didn't matter. The problem with that is there's a trophy for doing all of the challenges with the wingsuit, which is you can get a little wingsuit, you fly up in the air and you can glide. And if one of those bugs out, you just can't get that trophy. Thankfully, that didn't happen to me. The only ones that bugged out weren't important, and I was able to get other ones, but it was just very annoying to have worked on this thing, and then it's like, no, that didn't count.
Yeah, of course. If I ever play games like that where it just stops counting or whatever, then that's an immediate just like, oh, I'm just not going to do this part of the game anymore.
The only bad thing is that I played the PS4 version. It comes with a free PS5 upgrade.
I mean, is it an auto pop or
it's not an auto pop?
Then
I know myself. I know sometime in the next year or two, the itch is going to hit and I'm going to look at it and go, but I never got that other one. And I'm going to end up having to fucking slog through this game again.
Oh, no.
I hate myself, but I know it's coming. But for now, this game for fun.
You can't. Come on.
The problem is like, parts of the game are just like, they're not good, but like,
right.
I sat there and I watched more episodes of The West Wing, or I watched the Mega 64 Black Friday shit, and I just checked boxes off a thing, and that is good to me, and repetitive as it is. So it's like, here's where I'm balking. I'll tell you right now. I can't decide to give it a 1 or a 2.
Okay.
I'm right there. 1 or a 2. And I can't like this. A 1.5 sounds just about right, but we don't do halves.
No.
What if we started doing halves? You know what? If it worked like it was supposed to, we would get a 2. But the bugs aside, I got to give it a 1. No trophies. Now for trophies, with the exception of that co-op one and the couple buggy ones, everything else is pretty straightforward. It's literally to just play the game, do a couple side things. Nothing's challenging, nothing's missable, which is good. So for that, I'm going to give it a 3. I'm going to give it a silver because it's a pretty simple. Once again though, that co-op trophy and the bugs tied to the challenge system, maybe it deserves a bronze.
Ooh. Well,
but it's so easy that no missables and nothing's that hard. You can play the entire game on the easiest difficulty, so it's like there's no challenge to it. If you don't like, I tried to play the game normally and just realized I didn't give a shit and just wanted to speed through it.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's like for the trophies, it's a silver because based on your experience, but I would like slap a sticker of caution of like, hey, I got pretty lucky with those, but like,
yeah,
it's something. If you're going to platinum it, like sit down and consider it first. Like actually think about like,
I'll say this. I got this game for $30, and I feel like that was about $10 too much.
Yeah,
I think 20 to 25 is the sweet spot for this game. But if you want to play it, if you're some psycho out there, check out Cheap Ass Gamer. See when they got a deal on it.
Yeah,
we're not sponsored, but I'm gonna shout out Jared anyway.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that game fucking sucked.
Oh no! Look, see, yeah,
and what sucks is I could have played like I said, I bought better games.
Yeah.
I could have played Tiny Tina's. I really want to play a Plague Tale Requiem because I liked Innocence so much. But for some reason, I was like, well, I just want to play. Like, I looked at all those games and I went, Saints Row is probably the game where I can turn my brain off and listen to these things that are happening this weekend and do it in the background and it'll be fine. I just didn't know how fucking broken and stupid it was. So I can't recommend this game.
Well, I cannot. Hey, that's. I think that is the most glowing recommendation that you can give it.
That I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't play it.
I wouldn't play it unless even if you're a psychopath like me for platinums. I don't know if I would play this game.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I have no interest in playing it. Granted, when I replayed 3, it didn't sing to me as well as the first time through.
Because you don't like good video games. Well, we've determined you don't like good video games.
But like,
are you gonna play Neon White when it comes out?
I am. I want to play that.
I want to see the trophy list first.
You said next week that it comes out.
It comes out.
We could talk about it for Game of the Year.
It comes out the 13th.
Okay.
So that's the thing. I want to talk about it before Game of the Year. The thing is, like,
a couple days on that one.
Do I want to play it before Game of the Year? I don't know, because if that list, so that game is all about speedruns. So if that game has like a beat every speedrun on the highest platinum mega difficulty, it's like, maybe I don't have time for this right now, but I'll eventually do want to play it. But I don't know. You know what was a good game? Psychonauts 2.
Hang on. Let's not get into Psychonauts real quick.
Oh yeah, because why we got to talk about?
We got some other. I want to. Okay.
Oh, you want to talk about? Oh yeah, what have you been playing?
Yeah. Well, okay. Not a lot because I mean it's going to tie into the story of the game.
That Final Fantasy 14. I watched you playing that Final Fantasy 14.
I have been playing a little bit of 14.
Did you fall into the WoW hole?
No.
WoW came out. Did you see this thing that, like,
I just don't have any interest in going.
I don't either. But the one thing I want to talk about this really quick before you get into your thing about WoW. Yeah. I saw this and it was kind of crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
They did a thing for the launch of their new Dragonflight, which is if you watched one of their sponsored streamers for a couple hours, you got a free mount, and the mount they were giving away
was like a $6,000 mount.
It was one of the mounts from the trading card game.
Yeah.
And so all these people that bought those $6,000 cards are pissed. But like, it's so funny because think about it. They're not making any money on those $6,000 cards. That's all aftermarket shit.
Yeah.
So it was so funny. Like, well, we need a dragon thing. Well, we get this dragon that no one really has. And we're not making any money off it. Fuck it. Let's just give it away.
Yeah.
I wonder how much that card dropped in price.
I wonder. And you know what? I hope it does, because I hope
Should we check right now?
I want to. God, I want fun. Yeah, we got to.
At this point, they should do that. Give out the fucking Spectral Tiger.
That would be huge, right?
Do it.
Like, hang on. What is the card called? Because I've got TCG
Feldrake
pulled up. Feldrake?
Feldrake, Feldrake. There's still ones online right now going for like $2,000
unscratched.
Yeah, $1,800.
Okay,
but I wonder, like, these are up. They're not gonna sell.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
One of my friends was like, "You should just do it to get it in case you ever come back to WoW." I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not ever coming back to WoW." So
that was the thing, is I heard that too, and I was kind of just like, "Oh, I should get it just for that."
Now,
right?
I want to say right now, I'm making a shot. The only way I will ever come back to World of Warcraft is if they make a console edition and it has a platinum on PlayStation. If they do that, there's nothing in the world that would keep me away from that platinum. Are you kidding me? To platinum, I'll say this. While I don't play it anymore, you can't admit, everyone's got to admit, World of Warcraft, the original through, let's say, Wrath, is probably one of the most influential games of our generation.
Totally.
It is 100. Like, when we talk about top 10 games of all time,
yeah,
I always say honorable mention. I don't know if it's there, but it should be on that list, is World of Warcraft, because I put so much time into it. That is a game that existed at a time in my life where it was the thing that I played.
Right.
It will always have a spot in my heart that is incredibly important to me. Do I want to still play it? Fuck no. Those days are over. Do I want to play classic WoW Wrath? No, I already had my time. You can't put lightning back in the bottle. I tried WoW Classic. It's not the same. That fucking that feeling of exploration of a new world and like, what the fuck? You go here and you get this and blah, blah, blah. Now, it's like WoW is a solved game.
Yeah. 100%. It's a solved meta. Like, I don't know.
There's no like, they're playing Wrath of the Lich King. We're like, I remember when Wrath started and me and my group doing Nax is like, okay, testing what works, what doesn't work, what we got to do. Now it's like, you know the exact makeup you need.
Oh, yeah.
You know the exact team. You know the exact drops you need. And so you're just going through the motions. But I get why
you would want to do it again.
But sure. I don't want that.
Yeah, so, I don't either. Like, I've had my time with WoW. I really enjoyed my time with WoW.
So with this Activision Blizzard definitely looking like it's going to be blocked from Xbox. I'm sorry, Microsoft. It looks like my Activision Blizzard is going to being bought by Microsoft is getting blocked by the FCC.
I mean, it probably should. But
it's looking like it will be. So because of that, I doubt it would ever happen, because the only way it was ever going to come to console is if Microsoft bought them. So this will probably never happen. But if for some reason Activision just says, we're going to do it anyway, fuck it, let's put it on everything. Sure, I'll go back. Right. I'll do whatever they want. I'll beat whatever they want. I'll play WoW again because I've already got characters and it'll probably be easy to do. And once I have the platinum, I'll turn off my subscription. And then if they put out shit that's like an expansion pack, I'll probably play it for that and then turn off my subscription. Much like I'm going to do with Final Fantasy once you help me get these platinums. Once I have both platinums and all the DLC trophies, that subscription of mine is getting turned. I've had that subscription, by the way, for a full year. And I think I've played it twice this whole year.
Hey, that's not for want of me not asking you. Like, I've been like, hey, let's play 14. Let's play 14.
I've been I got
run around.
If it wasn't for the jumping jays and the pig peas getting me this year, you're right. But now that's over. And 2023 called shot by this time, but by the end of 2023, I'm getting at least one of those platinums. I would like to say both, but I'm gonna be realistic. But I'm gonna have at least one. I would like to have both. And then once that happens, once I get all those trophies, we turn it off. And then when you tell me, new expansion is out and it's got new trophies, then I turn it back on. I get the trophies with you and I turn it off. And that'll be how I exist inside of Final Fantasy in as long as it goes.
Can't wait to bug you every 3 months to be like, hey, there's new content, new trophies.
But starting January, you and me, at least 2 times a week.
Let's do it. Like, I want nothing more than just people to play Final Fantasy 14 with.
Hey, well, hold on. Side note. I just realized, you know what we need to talk about really fucking quick?
Yeah.
That fucking Mario trailer.
Oh my God. Hey, this movie's going to suck, isn't it?
No, I think the movie's going to be good. The trailer looked very good, minus it's just his fucking voice.
It's, oh my gosh, we were just having this conversation. You remember where it was like the whole video games and using like actors and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's kind of a weird thing.
yeah.
I think this is kind of that same thing where it's the inverse now. It looks like Mario, but that ain't Mario. Like if that guy showed up to your house and was like, "Hey guys, I'm Mario. Let me into your house." You're like, "You're not Mario. Who are you? Get out of here."
Mario sounds like Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Luigi just sounds like fucking Charlie Day.
He sounds like
Peach
whoever
just sounds like Anya Taylor-Joy. The only people so far that they've shown who are trying are Jack Black and Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah. And
you know why?
Ugh.
It's because they're actually fucking like good, comedians.
Yeah.
Which is Charlie Day is great. Once again, we're talking about Charlie Day because we were talking to him.
Oh yeah. Well, see, now we're in a time paradox because where this conversation could go.
Yeah.
See,
Did we already talk about that? Okay, take that part out. Take that part out. Take that part out.
Yeah. Okay.
No, don't put any of this.
Don't break the time paradox.
Don't break the time barrier. Take that out.
Oh gosh.
To go back for a second, I'll do
dangerous
the Charlie Day thing.
energies right now.
I'll start the Charlie Day thing again. Stop! Don't.
This is totally all just one cut. There's
do not put this in the episode.
This is
Charlie Day.
Not been an hour later.
Don't put this in the episode.
It has to go now.
If you put this in the episode, I'm going to be mad at you.
Did it make it to the episode? Write in. Tell us. Let us know.
I will be legitimately mad if you put this in the episode. Give me some silence so we can cut over this.
Okay.
Chris, I'm being serious with you right now.
I'm being just as serious with you. Can you tell?
Charlie Day, I like. He's good in It's Always Sunny, but like it's not. I was okay with fucking John Leguizamo as Luigi and Bob. Fucking what's
Captain
his last name?
Albano?
No,
okay.
Fucking from the Eddie Valiant from
yeah. Okay.
Why am I spacing? Bob Hoskins.
Yeah.
Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo did not. I mean, he did try to do a little bit of a Brooklyn thing, and that also works with. He said that Luigi was adopted, and he's also from Brooklyn. Brooklyn has a very huge. I think is John Leguizamo is Puerto Rican.
I think so.
Which is a big community in New York, so it fucking works. They come off as New Yorkers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like that, but that works, right?
You know what doesn't come off as New Yorkers? Chris Pratt going, "It's me, I'm Mario," and Charlie Day doing his neurotic fucking Philadelphia accent. Like, I don't know if he's actually from Philadelphia. Just It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
But it's like they don't sound. Somebody who I was talking to put it up. It was just like, look, these movies don't get made now unless they can put big names on it because you need a big name like Chris Pratt to get the parents to go. And in cases of like, fucking the Minions.
No, wait, no, you don't. You don't. It's Mario. Just that does it.
You undercut my fucking point.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I was gonna say they say that you need that. That's like why Mike Myers is in Shrek and blah blah blah. And I feel like that's absolutely true when it comes to Minions Rise of Gru 2 or whatever.
You need
this is Mario. All you needed was Mario.
Yeah.
And like people are now speculating that it's a full isekai because like he's going through a training mode and that like it's not actually Mario and there's a real Mario and
it has to be that. It's the Lego movie ending, right?
That's exactly why I'm worried because fucking Chris Pratt. Yeah, it's like they're just making the Lego movie again. I hope not. I don't hate Chris Pratt. Parks and Rec is one of my favorite shows. He's very good as Star-Lord. But the problem is that he's also in dog shit like Passengers and I'm going to say it, the Lego movie, which I did not like.
Yeah, it's fine. I just watched it for the first time in the last like year or two and I was like, it's fine.
And so I'm worried it's going to be. It's like, oh, hey, I'm Mario. I gotta stop Bowser. Let's go, princess. All right, I'm Anya Taylor-Joy, and I'm the princess.
I don't want to discredit the Lego movie as much as I am, but the ending wasn't so like that.
I want to discredit the Lego movie.
Like when that happened, I was like, oh, that's a clever way
The Lego movie
sense, but like,
is 95% bullshit, and then 5%. Hey, it's a story about a dad just wanting to spend time with his kids, and that's cool.
And it was cool. Like,
I do like that, but it's 95%.
Yeah, it's fluff.
Ultimate showdown of Ultimate Destiny.
Yeah,
you remember that bullshit from back in E-Bomb's world? Yep. It's like, look, it's fucking Gandalf and Superman, and that's that Lego Dimensions game I played earlier this year. It's like that's just that. Oh fuck, I gotta finish up the DLC on that. All right. Anyway, we talked about it. It sucks. I'm worried. The movie's gonna be fine because I was about to say Nintendo wouldn't put out bad things, but then they did put out Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and it's broken as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
But also, they put out that Guardians 3 trailer. You see that?
Yeah, I hope that's good. They put out the Indie trailer too. I don't know.
Indie doesn't look very good.
I will still see it. I will still see it.
I'll still see it Guardians, too, but.
They showed Adam
hyped. I was really.
I don't know. They showed off Adam Warlock for a second. Who is that dude playing Adam Warlock? He looks familiar.
Looks like the dude that plays fuck. I don't know because I don't watch The Boys. Homelander, is that his name?
It's not that guy.
It looks like him to me, but it is just that one little snippet. So I don't know who it is. I'm bad with actors too, though. I don't know. Like, I think Marvel knows how to make a fucking trailer. I'll give them that. Did you watch the holiday special?
Is it out?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'll watch it before next episode.
Oh, yeah. Watch it. It's fine.
Adam Warlock is being played by Will Poulter, who you might know from We're the Millers.
I've never seen
The Maze Runner.
Nope.
Midsummer. Don't remember him in Midsummer. Which, by the way, Midsummer is a good name for that movie because it's very mid. One of the Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, Black Mirror Bandersnatch. He's that guy with the weird face. Like you just see him, it's like, oh, he's that guy with that weird big face. He's got like a big face.
Do you think the Guardians die?
He was in Detroit.
Kind of what they started like, kind of. Like there's that like Supergirl shot where they're carrying Peter Quill, so it's like, oh man, like maybe.
Those fuckers make him too much money.
Yeah,
but is fucking James Gunn straight up? Is this it? He's done. Is it?
I think so. Well, he said that. So the wording that I've seen around this movie is that it is the last movie with this team and that they'll have a new team going forward. Now, what that means, I don't know, because it could be some of the retaining. Some people stick around, some people are gone. I think it will be harder to keep some of the bigger names. I think like even Dave Bautista is kind of like, after watching the holiday special, I don't think he wants to be there. So I don't think he's going to care.
Which is funny because he was so fucking excited when he first booked that role. He talked about all this shit about like pride. He's in Marvel. It's such a big deal, and it's just like, is the holiday special not good?
No, it's fine. It's just that I think it has a lot of that same kind of vibe where it's like. I don't know. I feel like the tone around certain people is kind of like ever changing, and like Chris Pratt's kind of one of those people where it's like some people can take him, kind of leave him, and I think that's kind of hurt like the image of that character in some ways, where it's just like I don't care if he's on screen, but I don't know. Like we watched it and it was fine. It was just kind of like where Werewolf by Night just like
he's not in it, right? He's not in the holiday special at all.
He's in it, but it's like he's kind of like. There at the beginning, there at the end. Like he's not really in it.
It's mostly what Batista and Mantis.
Yeah, it's Batista and Mantis go to Earth and do kooky things for a little bit, and then they come back.
Kevin Bacon, it looks like horror. I'll watch it on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, it's just fine. I think that it's just. I think Werewolf by Night really knocked my socks off and just everything that it did. And then this one was just kind of like, oh, this is kind of what I was expecting it to be like. So it's not that that's a bad thing. It's just that it was kind of more fluff than anything else. So yeah, I don't know. It was cute. It was fine. It's kind of felt like it was there. I don't know. It almost kind of feels like maybe they had a bigger plan for it. And then they've pivoted to just kind of like, whatever. Although, from what I've seen, is that Marvel was very happy about Disney was very happy how Werewolf by Night did. So apparently they're doing a big rush and push for next Halloween. So I'm very interested in seeing what they do going forward. But yeah, I don't know. As a special, as a thing, it's like I don't think it was necessary, but at the same time, it was like kind of cute. Whatever.
I think it's like if this is the end of James Gunn in the MCU, they'll probably kill off a bunch of the characters, and then they'll just. I honestly don't know what the fuck the MCU's like. For the first time in a long time, it really does kind of just feel like they're spinning their wheels, and hopefully, like Ant-Man will right the ship. So, and this comes out after that. So maybe by the time that this comes out, everything. But like right now, it's just like
I think we're
all of Phase 4, with the exception of the Eternals, which was a dog shit movie, and nobody that is smart likes it. I truly do feel like the best way you can describe Phase 4 was, it was fun. Did any of that matter? No. Okay.
The best way I've always explained it is like it feels like we're all in Phase 2 again, where like we're all kind of building towards, like, it's like we're building things and just kind of like solidifying new characters and building out the setting, right? And then Age of Ultron is how they kind of finished that phase, and it's like I still think that is one of the worst movies they've ever done. And
there are far worse movies than Age of Ultron.
It's very low on my list, and it just kind of feels like, well, at least it's like we got Phase 2 again, where like, and again, I think Phase 2 is one of those where it's like we get some really high highs with like Winter Soldier and shit, and then there's kind of like some lower lows like Thor and whatnot. And I feel like that's where this is. It's like you have a high like Shang-Chi and like some of the Disney Plus stuff like Werewolf by Night or Miss Marvel, She-Hulk. It's like those are really high highs, and then you have some lows like Eternals.
Your top 3 of the I can't talk. What are your top 3 of the fourth phase? Because my top 3 in no order are actually in order are Spider-Man, Shang-Chi, and Loki.
I think it's Shang-Chi. What was the most? What was the most recent one? It was Black Panther.
Wakanda. Yeah.
I don't. That's the hard thing. Is like I don't know if I include it, but it's like, man, I really love Namor.
I love Namor too.
I fucking love Namor, man.
Hey, Namor is great. The rest of that movie is okay. Namor is the best part.
I think it's Shang-Chi, probably Miss Marvel and She-Hulk for me. Like I think. I don't know. Spider-Man's in there too, though. Like I really love Miss Marvel. I think that like I had a friend. She was telling me, she was like, yeah, I'm not a little girl anymore. I don't know what Miss Marvel. And I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah,
man.
exactly. Miss Marvel is for little children. It's probably a fine show for my 3-year. It's probably a fine show for my 3-year-old niece.
No, it's a fantastic show. I think everyone should watch.
Fuck off. So I derailed you a little bit, but what did you want to talk about?
But good ideas. Yeah. Okay. So actually, this is a thing that was proposed to me while I was playing, or I guess since the God of War episode has come out, like I've talked to friends more about like God of War because
you're wrong and they all ate your ass on that.
No, well, okay, no, because one of my friends came to my fucking defense.
Okay, well that's a bad person, but go ahead.
But no, it was and it's mostly because with that episode, that one I was definitely trying to figure out some stuff before we went to record. So like I talked about it with a couple people, but now since the episode's out, I've been talking about it with more people. And one of my friends was playing through God of War Ragnarok right now, and they said that they constantly are being taken out of the game because of and let's see, make sure I don't get this wrong. Odin's character, the character who is what's his face on the West Wing?
Richard Schiff? Yeah. What about him?
That because Odin looks like him, like the actor, and sounds like him, it is taking him out of the game because for him, and this was his argument, was that it is a video game. So why are you using a real ass person when you could create what this character is supposed to look like? Or in your vision what this character looks like and come up with something new, not just this man that you have taken from real life and just put into the video.
So to be fair, they look the same, but Richard Schiff is not the actual, like, it is a created person, which is, so it's like Kratos,
like he's
is
got
not based
features.
Kratos is not based on Christopher Judge. Kratos is actually based on the original 2018 model that they used. Oh, by the way, this is apropos of nothing. Quick little side note called Ryan Fucked Up.
Oh no.
Last episode I said that that would have been one of my games of the year, but Control came out in 2018 and that was the best game in 2018. Control came out in 2019.
Oh.
So God of War wasn't my game of the year because Spider-Man came out, which I think is a better game than God of War 2018. As much as I love War 2018, Spider-Man is probably the best game of that year. Anyway, the God of War 2018 model is based on a wrestler named Shad Gaspard who tragically passed away a few years ago when his son got sucked out to sea and he saved him.
God.
And they like called in a helicopter and they were trying to get him and they're like, take my son first. And in doing that, when they went to grab him, he got sucked out and he passed away. So God of War Ragnarok is also a tribute. They decided to keep the same model. So technically he's still in that game, which is nice. But it's like, that's not based on Christopher Judge, but I can hear Christopher Judge's voice when Kratos talks. And sometimes I'll see his face in my mind. It doesn't fuck it up for me. Richard Schiff, true. They made Odin look more like an older man, but they didn't make him look like Richard Schiff. It's just that because of what they were doing with Odin, trying to be less of like this big, giant, mysterious dude and trying to make him more of like a mafia Don figure, they went with thinner, bald, and then Richard Schiff's voice fits that because they look together. But Richard Schiff is not the model. Okay. As far as what your friend said is like it takes him out, I've heard that from other people when I think Jared will tell me if I'm wrong, but Jared always tells me is like he doesn't like when Troy Baker is in things because it just sounds like Troy Baker.
It's just Troy Baker. Yeah, that's usually my argument when it comes to like voice acting. It's a lot of that I say it's like, well, okay, but if you're watching a movie with Brad Pitt, do you think it's not the character he's playing and it's Brad Pitt? But that's the difference is because that became the discussion of the moment, and why I wanted to propose it to you because I understand that argument is if you go see a movie, but here's the thing is. I'm not watching a movie. I'm watching a video game, which is crafted in a different way.
Yeah, but that video game, those cutscenes, it's basically a fucking movie.
Oh, yeah, I totally get that. And I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's probably like heavily rotoscoped in a way that it's probably, more of just that than anything. But it was something that I've never really thought about, I guess, in the context of like a video game, because when it comes to anime, it's like, it's kind of why I have a hard time watching anything that isn't just in its original audio. So like with anime, it's a lot of Japanese audio, or if the weird thing that comes out like in France or something, it's like I want to watch it in French because that's the way it is. Like that's the way that the director intended, and like that team figured it out. So it's like when it comes to the West and it's just Johnny Young Bosch, and I'm like, I love Adam, man, from the Power Rangers, but he doesn't need to be every main character.
I don't. I get why people say that. I don't give a fuck. I watch all of my anime dubbed because I speak English and not Japanese or
French. That's fair. But it's I was thinking about that, and then it's like, does that definitely has got to take it out for people with like Death Stranding. It's like that's just Norman Reedus. Like it doesn't matter what the characters.
Yeah,
called.
You know what? That's the same argument.
Norman Reedus.
That's Norman Reedus. But the thing is, Norman Reedus is playing a part. There's no difference than Norman Reedus as Sam Porter Bridges or Norman Reedus as. I mean, I only know him from The Walking Dead and
Boondock Saints.
Boondocks. I met him once. I think I told you that. He's been in other shit. Oh, side tangent. Saints and Sinners 2 release date confirmed on PSVR 2 in March. Cannot fucking wait for that. Anyway, so you were bringing that up. Was that it?
It was just an interesting question. I wanted to get your take on it because for me, I think like it kind of came down to like I see his argument and I'm like, I totally understand that because that is how I feel when it comes to anime. Whereas like a video game, it's like I think for the most part I don't care. But
I honestly don't give a shit.
Right.
I don't give a shit. If they had made Odin look exactly like Richard Schiff, I wouldn't care, because to me, high AAA video games, especially Sony ones that are based like that,
Right.
when I'm watching those cutscenes, I'm basically watching a movie. And so if you want to make Odin look like fucking this guy, great, because it's just that guy playing the part. If you want to do a game where a big giant fucking monster is voiced by somebody I know, then that's fine, because then I just see the big monster. But also, you could make that look like a person. I don't give a shit. I'm just watching these for the writing and the everything. Right. And so it's like, it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, I think that's what I was like, yeah, I don't think I normally care, especially because these AAA games are kind of shooting to be like a movie. So it's like, for me, it's like, yeah, as long as it's well acted, I generally don't care. But yeah, I thought that was like an interesting little take, and I was like, wanted to kind of, I guess, put that feeler out to the friends out there listening. It's just like, hey, what does that bother you in video games? Like, it was just, one of the first times that I've heard someone like kind of bring that up in a video game, and I just never, I don't know, I sometimes just, it's fun to think about things that you never think about, right? I guess.
You know what we should do? We should start doing, like when we have things like this, we should do a poll on our Twitter that we'll put up. We'll put up the poll. Let's put up a poll when this episode goes live. And if you're listening to this and it's, around the time it comes out before the next one, go vote in the poll. And the next episode, we'll talk about the poll. And the poll is, does recognizable voices or actors, character models, take you out of a video game? Yes or no? I think that would be a fun little poll.
I love that. Please vote in it. Please let me know, because these are the thoughts that cross my mind on like a Tuesday afternoon with friends. So yeah. Other than that, like, dude, I've been playing so much fucking card games. We're in card game season right now, and I'm what?
It's a video game podcast.
I mean,
talk about your Pokemon
video game.
Talk about your Pokemon. Go ahead. I know you want to. No, seriously. What's your new deck? I'm just doing a bit. I don't want to take your shine away. This is a podcast. No. This is about games in the different way that people play them. We said that at the beginning. So what are you excited about? What is it? Right
now, tomorrow morning, I'm gonna wake up really early, and I'm gonna I'm going to get in my car. I'm going to drive down to every game store that I have to go to. Nope. Not.
What? No, I didn't say that's where you live. That's the card game stores you're going to.
I see the game you're trying to play, where we can detail this metro hub that is in the area.
I didn't say that you live.
Oh, did you? Ryan,
you have to bleep that in days. What?
One of these.
The best part is you can't do this back to me, because I readily and freely tell people where I live.
Yeah, you're like, hey, I'm gonna dox myself on Tuesday. Be there. No, I'm gonna run to these game stores. One Piece TCG is coming out tomorrow.
Oh, there you go. Did they make any changes to? Oh, you know what I just realized?
Not really.
When I was up there for the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, I had all these cards from Anime Expo that I was supposed to give you.
Like, you
including the fucking. You? Oh yeah, they were in my bag the whole time.
I didn't even think about it.
They were in that backpack that I had.
That's fucking
remember
funny.
When I gave you my backpack that said I have to go use the bathroom at this Burgerville? This is full of like $2,000 worth of video games. We hold it. Your cards were in there, and I just forgot to give them to you.
That's fine. No worries. It's not like we'll never see each other again.
And we'll never see each other.
That would be hilarious, wouldn't it?
No,
actually, that sounds like there would be like a big terrible thing that would have happened.
Yeah. Has the game changed significantly since? That sucks, because I don't think that game's gonna be good.
Here's the thing, I've been paying attention to the like competitive circuit in Japan, because they are streaming it. Like, every major tournament has been streamed on YouTube, which is awesome. Production value fucking rules. Japan is still killing it, and TCG Twitch streams and shit, whatever. Well, I guess they mostly do YouTube and Nico, but their production value fucking rules. And I've been watching them online, And after the first regional, I made pretty much the top 4 decks. Like I proxied them out, and like me and my wife have been playing them like on and off over the last like month or two.
Thank you for saying it correctly on the first try.
Yeah, no problem. And then I think it might have been this past weekend or the weekend before, maybe. There was the second like major regional in Japan, which included set 2 and, you know, has updated some stuff a little bit. And I think I like the game. I think I'm really liking this card game because now we have kind of seen how it's solidified in its gameplay. And while I do think it's a little basic at times, and I think that there are definitely some small tweaks that could happen to it to make it even better, I think the general flow of the game right now is really good. And I'm actually really excited to check it out whenever it like, you know, splashes over here. So I'm really looking forward to picking it up tomorrow. I really hope that I hope that by the time you're listening to this, everyone has seen my Friday stream where I was just happy as can be and had a great day, and I opened a whole box or maybe more of this new One Piece TCG on stream, and we got like a really cool expensive card or something. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm into the game right now. I'm can't wait to see where it goes. It's better than fucking where Pokemon's going right now, because that new video game that they released, like the new app, the TCG Live,
was it not good?
Oh, it sucks. It's so bad.
Oh, no.
I'm only happy because it's gotten like a couple of my friends to start playing the game, and they're like, "Oh wow, I've never really paid much attention to trying to learn how to play Pokemon, but they're enjoying it." It's just unfortunate because this new set that came out, we had our first international championship this last weekend, and of the 102 players that made day 2, 55 of them were playing this Lugia deck. And almost all 60 cards are exactly the same. And of those 55, 22 of them made up the top 32. And in top 8, 6 of them made up the top 8. And it's just like, ooh, I am really not happy with the metagame right now. So, yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing where I'm like, hey, if you're into wanting to learn how to play the Pokemon TCG, download the new app. It's not great, but it gives you a tier 1 deck right off the bat. So, or really a tier 0 deck, because it gives you the Lugia stuff like right off the bat just to start playing. So, I mean, learn now, check it out. But yeah, it's the game itself still needs a lot of work, and I'm hoping that it gets it in the coming weeks and months. So. But we'll see. We'll see.
Breaking news.
Oh my God.
Callisto Protocol trophy guide has just released on Power Picks.
Ooh. How long does it say it's going to take?
If you just try to do everything on one playthrough on the hardest difficulty, 10 to 15 hours. If you do it two playthroughs where you do it on easy first and then do hard on New Game Plus with everything, a little bit longer, but it reduces the difficulty because
you'll have everything for New Game Plus.
Yeah. Oh wait, there is no New Game Plus.
It'll
you're supposed. They say you can do it to learn enemy placements. Fuck that! I'll just play the game on the hardest difficulty to start out with.
That.
So 6 out of 10 difficulty estimated platinum, 10 to 15 hours.
Damn.
There's one glitched trophy at the moment for finding all data bios. Can glitch out in rare case if it doesn't register in collectibles in the data bios menu. Checked after each collectible in the data bios menu that is corrected. If you die, reload checkpoint, you must collect any unsaved bios again. No auto pop. So I'm just gonna play this on PS5 because I don't give a shit. I'm really starting to not give a shit about PS4 games anymore.
Yeah. I've felt that way for years. I feel like this generation kind of sucks, right? This is the in-between generation where we're slowly kind of upgrading like every half step now. So it's just kind of like eventually we'll just start calling it like PlayStation, and all of them will do the same thing. And just what Xbox is doing. It's just
according to this guide, it's easier to do it in 2 playthroughs, even though it takes longer, because there's so many collectibles inside things that if you try to do it on hard, you got to do all those on hard too. So they're saying play the game on easy, get all the side shit, and then just do a straight run through
just
on the hardest of it, a hard main story. I might wait to pick this up because apparently there's a couple things like there's some trophies that are kind of buggy right now, so I might wait. Might wait a bit.
I'm fascinated to hear how the game plays out because, I mean, kind of feels like we've been due for a.
Yeah,
I almost called it Saints Row, but it's a Dead Space.
Dead Space,
yeah, Dead Space remake.
We got a Saints Row. It did not help.
Wait, isn't there a Dead Space actual like remake coming out soon too?
Sometime next year. I don't think there's a date on that yet.
Yeah, that'll be weird.
But it's supposed to be early next year.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens. I wonder if they're just trying to shake the Callisto people a little bit, you know? They're trying to flex, show that they've got something when they've really got nothing. And then they just develop something in the matter of the next like 3 years and kind of shit it out, and everyone thinks it's mediocre and they move on. Dead Space dies a horrible death.
Okay, good. So I was worried about the hardest difficulty on this because it's made by the Dead Space people, and Dead Space 2 they did the thing where the hardest difficulty only had like 3 saves. This one apparently infinite lives and the checkpoints are all the same, and there's a lot of checkpoints. The only difference is that enemies have about twice as much health and deal twice as much damage, and the drop rate of items and ammos is exactly the same.
Nice.
So it's just you take more damage and they do more damage.
Okay, well that's not too terrible.
So it might actually be smarter to do, even though it takes longer. It might be smarter to do do it on easy, so that A, you can do all the side shit without having to do it hard, and B, so you can learn where everything is, and then just do a speed run on hard where it's like, okay, I know what to do. Upgrade the one weapon that's good, and then just fucking, fuck the game up. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm fascinated.
Okay, well,
I can't wait to hear what you think about that game.
Will I play that game before the end of the year? I'm not sure. Would I like to play it? Absolutely. But like, it comes out tomorrow and I'm going out of town this weekend.
Yeah. This month's busy.
And then the week after that, I could play it. But then the week after that is when Neon White comes out. But then Neon White comes out on a Tuesday. And then that Thursday, I've got to leave for San Diego for reasons that I can't say. And then the week after that is Christmas week, and then we got to record Game of the Year before Christmas so it can come out on the 26th.
I'm fucking stoked for video games.
You and I gotta sit down and drum out all of the categories too, so that we can start making our lists. I need to go back and listen to last year's so I can write all the categories down, and then I've got a couple categories I want to add to that.
Hey, I've got all the categories written down for you already from last year.
You do?
Yeah.
Send me that list.
I'll send you that list. Don't worry.
Shit.
I got your back.
Maybe after this, maybe when we've wrapped this up, I'll tell you the new categories then, and we can just start working on our list now.
Yeah, I got it right here.
I'm not fully ready, though, because I still need to play this, and I need to play fucking Neon White and Callisto. And maybe Crisis Core. Like, that's the thing, is like, we're at Game of the Year, but there are all these games that we're not going to have time for. And that sucks.
They're just end of the year kind of. There'll be the honorable mentions of next year where it was like, well, we couldn't talk about the game because it came out like 10 days before the end of the year and we had to record the episode before, but they were good and are worth a mention. But yeah.
Oh, and looking at this list has made me instantly furious at you. Cannot believe fucking Nickelodeon All-Star Battle Royale is on this fucking list.
It's such a good game. It really is.
Terrible. And Melody of Memory was not the worst game because
what a terrible game.
Fucking
what a terrible game.
I'm still mad that The Medium got bumped off of Worst Game of 2021 for Melody of Memory. The Medium is such a worse game. Okay. Yeah, when we're done with this episode, we haven't even gotten to the fucking we got to talk about Psychonauts.
Yeah, let's talk Psychonauts.
Psychonauts was a game that did we put it on our list for Game of the Year last? We did. It was number 6. You know what? Having now played it, I think that it's better than.
No.
What? It was number 6. I'm trying to. What were you gonna say? Oh, it's definitely better than Endwalker. Endwalker's a piece of shit.
Shut up. You're wrong.
I think I might put Psychonauts where Ratchet and Clank is and like put Deathloop. I mean, it's too late. You're not allowed to change this.
Here's the thing.
We're not allowed to.
If I'm looking at it, because I still haven't played Rift Apart, I think that's on my like Christmas playthrough. I think I'm gonna play through it on around Christmas. I think for Psychonauts to move up in our best of last year, it would have to go around that. I think it's better than Deathloop.
No, I would agree. As much as I love Deathloop, I really liked Psychonauts. I thought that it was a very
it's great, isn't it?
The hard part is that I'm comparing Psychonauts to Ratchet and Clank because they're both kind of like
they're both platformers. Yeah, right.
And I think Psychonauts, as much as I love Ratchet and Clank, really is, I think right now, it's still the game that I would point to as like somebody is like, well, why should I buy a PS5? I would point to Rift Apart as like, that's the game that shows how cool the PS5 is. Because it's a fun, great game that utilizes all of the tricks and looks so fucking good. But Deathloop is an entirely different thing. It is that weird time. I like a time loop. I like a stealth shooter. And so it's like, I would actually do this. If I could go back, this is what I would do. I would put Ratchet and Clank at 6. I'd put Psychonauts at 5, and you can't change anything. I see you looking at this. No, what is that? Stop that. I would put Ratchet and Clank at 6. I would put Psychonauts at 5, and I put Deathloop at 4. I still really like Deathloop. No. No. I'd put Deathloop at 6. I'd put Ratchet and Clank at 5, and I'd put Psychonauts at 4.
Wow. See, that's the only thing is I think that I still think what I've heard for Ratchet and Clank, it would be right around it. Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank was really good. Hitman 3 was so good.
I need to play it.
And then, of course, I would take Final Fantasy 14 and Walker off this list entirely because it's only there to sate you. It's not a game that came out last year. It is an expansion, and it doesn't count.
It counts. It's whole
not game. A new... Yeah, no, it's not.
It's a whole...
Can you buy it by itself and play it without playing anything else?
I mean, no.
Fuck you. This is the Psychonauts 2 episode. Unless, really quick, do you want...
No.
Okay, should it be secret between us, or should we say some new categories out loud? I think we keep it secret. No.
I say give a little tease.
Well, okay. First of all, we're turning remake remaster of the year into a new category called best game that came out this year that didn't really come out this year.
Right.
That way it's a little easier to like put whatever we want in there. Right. New category. I definitely want to put in there is most mid game of the year.
Which
now what's better, most mid or most forgettable?
No, I think
the
most
game that
mid.
we forgot we played.
Oh man. I think those are two different categories, though. Most forgettable is like that. Even if it's mid, like I feel like I'm gonna remember, right? Right?
Yeah. I also want to do a side category this year called Best Dad. A good dad game. Yeah, gives us some good dads in it this year.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
I also we did a best trophy list. I'd like to do a worst trophy list.
Oh, okay. I like this.
Did we have a best indie?
Wait a minute. Are we putting this in? Or are we just talking? Okay.
Leave it in. Who cares? We're gonna delete coziest game. That really, I don't know. That's really a hard category.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We could talk about that. But I've got some other ones. Those ones we'll talk about. But I'm looking forward to our episode this year.
Oh wait, there was. Oh my gosh, my wife was gonna write into the show. She told me this thing. She was talking.
Hold that for when we talk about emails.
Man. Okay.
We still need to talk about fucking Psychonauts.
Let's talk about what is one of the best games of 2021. Yeah.
So I think that Psychonauts 1 might be one of my favorite platformers of the PS2, original Xbox, GameCube era.
Yeah, that's fair.
I have a lot of ties to Psychonauts. It is a really fun platformer that has a fun little story with humor. Mm-hmm. And I really, really liked it. to talk about Psychonauts 2, we have to talk really quickly about the plot of Psychonauts 1. Psychonauts 1,
Yes.
you're Rasputin Raz. He's a kid from a fake country called Groovlovia, whose parents are circus performers, and he's run away to join the Psychonauts Psychic Whispering Rock Psychic Summer Camp training program because his parents don't believe in you can't be psychic. You're an acrobat. They don't like him. And he also, it was a nice little throwaway in the first game that they do into this one. They also, just so that they can have it as a platformer, they say that your family's been cursed to die by water.
Yeah.
That way, water is like the out of bounds that they use.
Right.
And so that first game is a really fun game about going to the psychic summer camp where he wants to join the Psychonauts, which are like the elite psychic spy force in the world. And he's been reading about in comic books. And it's a really nice platformer where you're at the summer camp and you get the story about, all the kids' brains are being stolen and we don't know why. And so you got to go to all these different worlds, which are the counselors' heads. Now that I'm thinking about it, I take it back. Rift Apart is better than Psychonauts 2. And I'll get to it in a second. But I would put this above Deathloop.
Okay.
I'll tell you why in a second. I'm now realizing something I did have a problem with this game that I'm reading through my notes and I did totally forgot about it, and so we started talking.
Okay.
Also, really quick note about Sonic, why it sucks. I forgot to note. There's a day-night cycle in the game that is a stupid limiter for no reason with no player control that adds nothing to the game. That's a note that I had.
Wait, like the day-night cycle?
The day-night cycle,
Yeah.
The only thing the day-night cycle does is that there are a couple of the challenges that are only at night. There's like one or two per thing, and it adds nothing, and the day-night cycle is fucking long. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So the in the first game, the gameplay, much like in Psychonauts 2, is split up between being in people's minds, which are the big platformers worlds, and then a big hub where there's collectibles. There are different collectibles in each one. This game is definitely a collectathon in the realm of like a Banjo-Kazooie. Side note, did you ever used to call Banjo-Kazooie Banji-Kazoople, or was that just me?
Nope, I think that was just you. Why would you call it that?
I don't know, because it's fun to say. say Banji-Kazoople.
Banji-Kazoople.
Fun, right?
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I get it.
There you go. The worlds in Psychonauts 1 were great because all the different brands were different. You had one where like it was like a black velvet painting that you would see in like Spain, and so it was all about bullfighting. There was one where you're in a brain and it was like a big giant card game. There was a board game, and there were different, like you could get bigger or smaller to do different parts of the board game. There was one where you're in a guy that's got like psychotic delusions, and so it's all like JFK conspiracy level shit. And every level was different. My favorite level in that game was the one where you're in the brain of this little fish, and because the fish was small but big, the whole level was like a Godzilla game where you were way too big and then sometimes you'd be way too small. Do you remember that level?
Yeah.
Those were fun. And so it's all about collecting. The story about that game is really important because this game takes place literally like 3 days after the first game, even though they're 10 years apart.
Yeah.
So people's brains are being stolen at the summer camp. You got to find out why. Turns out that one of the counselors, the coach, has been stealing them to put them in tanks because this evil dentist has brainwashed him into thinking it's a good idea. And it turns out that guy's been working for somebody else. That game's a 10 out of 10.
Yes.
The next game in the series was a PSVR game called Psychonauts in the Rhombus of Ruin. And it's basically a shitty tech demo.
That's unfortunate because I haven't.
Unfortunately,
that.
You need to play that to know the story of Psychonauts 2.
Yeah,
that's a knock against Psychonauts 2. Now they do add a story, like a thing at the beginning that tells you the whole story, so you don't have to play it.
Yes.
But basically, that story is you going to the Bermuda Triangle, but it's called the Rhombus of Ruin, and you have to get Dr. Lobato has stolen Truman Zanato, your girlfriend's dad, and also the head of the Psychonauts. And he's trying to like get his brain. And so you have to go to there and do all this dumb VR shit to rescue him. That's all you need to know. That is all you need to know about that game. And then this game starts literally 10 minutes after that game ends.
Jeez. Which is
here.
Honestly, it's one of the funniest things.
It is funny because there's a part in the game where you go into a mine where you go back to the summer camp, and he's like, "Wow, I haven't been here since about like 3 days ago." But the thing is, it's funny because Psychonauts.
It's been 16 years.
Came out 16 years ago. Before I get into this, I do want to say quickly the things about Psychonauts 2 that I don't like.
Yes,
I don't think there's enough. Unlike Psychonauts 1, where all the worlds were different and had different mechanics, with the exception of one of the worlds in this one, I feel like they're all a little samey. They're still fun and it controls well, and I like playing it, but there's no like.
There's only follows the same structure. There's
one level where you're in the mind of Ford Cruller, who is in the first one. He is. You think he's just the janitor, but you keep seeing him everywhere, and you find out he's actually one of the original Psychonauts whose mind was fractured. Now he thinks he's like 30 different people. In this game, you're trying to unfracture his mind and put him together because you need him for something. And one of his personas works at a bowling alley, and the bowling alley level is fun because it's all about basically instead of being a platformer, you're riding this bowling ball and doing puzzles that are all about like riding the bowling ball down like ledges so you can knock over pins and shit. That's fun. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, it's definitely one of those platformers where it introduces new mechanics in each world, and you kind of do those mechanics. I guess the best thing I'd equate it to would be like It Takes Two, where it's like each little zone, it kind of gives you that next little, like, here's the mechanic for this section,
like, On this level, you get pyrokinesis, so you can burn down walls to look for hidden things. On this one, you get a thing so that you can latch on to basically hook shots. There's one other level in this game that I thought was really cool, and that's the cooking show level, where it's the entire level is you're in the brain of a guy who is locked himself up because he thought he was like letting all his friends down or whatever, and they do a cooking show. And so that's fun because it's like, hey, build me a sandwich. Okay, you got to take this and go over here, and there's different stations. Yeah. And so the level never changes. And that was cool. But I feel like all the other levels are literally just linear paths, or there's one that's like an open world where it's like a big sailing thing.
Yeah.
But it's all kind of samey.
Yeah.
Still a good game, but that would be my complaint with that.
I think the way I'd put it is that it's very structured in the way that it does its platforming. Like, it's kind of these three, I don't know if acts are the right thing to say per world, but like it kind of feels that way. Like 3-act worlds, like, you're kind of just progressing from point A to point B. You get
because
the
first couple worlds, it's like you got the tutorial world, and then it's like the first one is you get this power to accidentally change people's, like, incept people, and so you do this level and you incept your teacher. Let's start the whole story from the beginning, and as we go, we'll get to that. So the game literally starts 10 minutes after the Rhombus of Ruin ends, and it starts with you inside. You think that it starts as like a false opening where it's like Raz is in a suit and he's working, but the boss is Dr. Lobato. It's like, what? Why is he in charge? You find out, guess what? It's a mind heist. Yeah. They're trying to trick him into telling them who hired him, but he's got a mental block and you can't find out, who got Zenato, who got Lobato to capture Zenato. Wow, these names are really close to each other.
I love them.
And so what you see is this fucking vision in Lobato's brain that's like, if you tell them I'm going to kill you, and you don't know what it is, and when you get out of his brain and talk to the rest of the people, you find out it's Maligula, who is this. All the psychics in the world all have special, like, this person is pyrokinetic, this person is telekinetic, so she's hydrokinetic, so she's all water, which makes you scared because you think water's bad.
Yep.
And she flooded her home country of Gruvlovia, which is where you're from, and that makes you even more scared of her. So they do this, and they're like, well, how could he have gotten it? How could he have gotten the head of the Psychonauts by himself, even if she hired him? There must be a mole in the Psychonauts. And so the game is you going back to Psychonaut headquarters and trying to be like, somebody here is up to some shit. And so we got to go in brains and find out who's the mole.
Right.
Now, the game immediately does one thing I fucking hate in sequels, which is you've just had 2 games where you have basically saved the world twice.
Right.
And the first thing that happens is you land and they're like, oh, well, you're just a kid and you're not that special. So you lose all your powers.
Yeah.
And you have to go talk to this teacher and these kids who treat you like shit. And you meet like they make you an intern. And the first thing you do is you meet all the other kids and they're all assholes. And I hate that. By the end of this game, they try to be like, oh, the heart of gold, you're going to learn. No, by the end of this game, I still fucking hated all of the other kids in this game. Except Raz's girlfriend who was from the first game. But all of the new kids,
they suck. Yeah.
And you meet the second in control, and her mind is the one that you go into and you learn how to incept people because she doesn't want to let you go on the mission. They're like, we got to go and find out who Lovato talked to, and we got to go to this fucking casino over here because that's where somebody's having a meeting. And she's like, no kids are allowed. So you go into her mind and you incept her to make her go, and you accidentally turn into a fucking gambling maniac.
Yeah.
And then that is the first world that becomes the first of what you were talking about structured, which is every world becomes the same. It's, to stop her from being a gambling maniac, I need 3 coins to get into the safe in her mind. So I have to go do 3 separate tasks to get the thing so I can go to the end of the level. And that is basically every world. It's always, to go over here, I'm going to need 3 bottles. Or I need 3 books, or I need, 3 challenges. And so it does get very samey.
Yeah. But I mean, it's also...
I'm talking myself out of... You know what? I take it back. Yeah. It's perfectly fine at 6. 6 was fine.
Okay.
Deathloop is better than this.
Here's the thing. I think you are... that wouldn't be fun normally, right? But it's a platforming. It's still a very... So it's kind of like a fun game. That's what you do. Like, that's...
hey, it's still a fun game, and I like it, but I'm starting... Now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm starting to realize this game was definitely not as good as the first one.
No, I think, you know what? I think it's better than the first one.
I disagree. I think the first one is better.
I think that this one has...
Let's hold that talk to the end.
Fair.
So that's the first 2 worlds there is you got to go and you basically do... it's all hospital themed because her whole thing is... That's the other thing they do in this is in the first game, there was some slight, like... They don't allude to... But they do talk a little bit about some people have some mental trauma. This one, it really did feel like they were trying to bash over my head. People have problems, guys. It was a little heavy-handed. Whereas one person is like this, she's definitely got some unresolved issues with having her work stolen. There's a level where it's like this guy was definitely an alcoholic. There's a level where Jack Black is absolutely a fucking drug addict on Molly and has separation issues. There's one level where it's like imposter. And I don't want to downplay mental health issues.
This game starts with a caution warning to a content warning being like, hey, these there are very serious topics that we kind of tackle in this game, they had full on professionals helping them write it to where they didn't want to tread on anything.
Here's my problem with that.
Yeah.
I feel like this game sometimes feels like an after school special. Sometimes they go a little heavy. They go a little heavy-handed with it. I'm not trying to shut them down for wanting to tackle heavy issues, but I'm saying sometimes they're trying to tackle heavy issues like it's that episode of Saved by the Bell where what's her name does methamphetamines. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared. It's just like you're trying to do something here, and I just feel like you're not sticking the landing. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I don't want to write it off. I'm just saying, it's just I feel like they're trying to push a little too hard on some stuff. It just came off not as phony, but definitely is just elbowing you in the ribs, just being like, come on, guys, hear what's going on.
I don't know. This is weird, right?
Why?
I don't know. I feel like this is the game. This is the Sadby Radby game.
100%.
This is Sadby Radby Return.
They tried to include a lot of a moral, social, sad boy message, and I can see it. And I'm not saying that they it doesn't fit. I'm just saying that I think they go a little heavy-handed. I don't think that's bad to say.
No.
I just think they go a little heavy-handed. That's all I would say.
I think that's, I agree with you in some ways.
I'm not going to count the game down because of it.
Yeah,
I'm just going to be like, I get
that
what
would
you're
be
doing.
to just say that you didn't like the story, and that's a totally different.
No, the story is good. The writing is very funny. The jokes are still there. It's all good. It's just that sometimes when they do this, I can just see it's like, okay, I get it.
Do you think that's because
you read a book about alcoholism and then didn't want to sell this game with alcoholism, so the bottles are to put ships in, not that he's drinking. You know what I mean?
Well, but he is drinking. Like in the cutscenes, you see him pull flasks out and drink.
Yeah, but they never say.
They never say it. Yeah. But that again, it's as somebody
because that guy's whole level is based on like being on a ship and going into bottles. So it's like that's how they were like, oh look, it's bottles, guys. It's ships and bottles. That's how they get around the fucking ESRB. But it's very, very heavy implied.
Oh, this guy
lost his husband and now is a fucking drunk.
Yeah. And he's pushing people away from him and constructing visions of like what people think about him in his own head, because that's just what his brain this is, and his struggle specifically is something I feel like I can relate to. Like I am somebody, like I've never been a stranger to talk about it on this show or in my private life or anything. I'm somebody who struggles with mental health. I am sad bee on this show. Like I get it. Like, and this game was a game that like it's weird because I feel like last year when I played it, I found it kind of at like the right time. Like I was kind of coming out of like a really bad just fall. Like fall is when my depression really kicks into high gear, right? And I was coming out of
that's really interesting because fall to me is like one of the happiest times of the year.
I love fall. Like, don't get me wrong. I love it, but it's just my brain, the chemicals, whatever it is in like nature that just slowly starts to, I think it's just cause like nature dies in fall, you know? And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful death, but it is like, I think my brain is just like, death is all around you, you know, shit. But like, no, I get this character and I get like the way they used his metaphor stuff because he's somebody who is like, I do that. Like I totally, and that's why like when I get to like these parts, cause it's like, I would definitely say there are a lot of characters in this story where I can relate to the situation they're in. It's not saying that is my situation, you know, it's just that there are bits and pieces where it's like, oh, I understand what this character is doing. Like I've either done that before, I've seen it on other people before. It's, you know, I think that this game, while this whole game, I mean, it tells you right at the front that this is kind of what the game is about. So it's like, I get why it's a little heavy ham-fisted, a little whatever at times, but like I do want to express that I think every time, like for me when I felt it, it just was like, like that's how it is. Like that's why I don't want to like just how it is. That's why I'm trying. I'm trying to. I don't want to sound like I'm ragging on this game. No, I totally get it. Like,
but on the other hand, when they kept beating me on the head with everybody sucks, everything sucks, everything sucks,
and it's a sad B game.
Come on, man. Like I'm happy. It really sucks, and it's hard to say this, but it's just like I've said this before when we were talking about when we originally had the Sad B Rad B fucking conversation, that so many fucking games now are all about how everyone's sad, and when you're not sad, it makes you sad. It's like, I'm not playing video games to be sad.
Yeah, I know, and that's what's so hard. Like, because it's. But if you say that, like,
if I say that out loud, I'm a shithead.
No. Because here's the thing, and this is like in the conversations that we've had, especially a lot of these conversations are recorded. It's like I totally get where you're coming from, because it's like I am definitely one of those people that I play games to escape being sad. Like I don't want games to make me sad. Like, but this
I want to get when a game.
This is a game that will, you know, it kind of it talks about heavy subjects, and it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, I highly suggest it just because it's like, I know it's a sad game, but it's one of those things where it's like, it helps. I think this is one of those games where it can help people understand sometimes. You know, it's hard for me to like, oh man, this is rough. This is going to be a weird one. This is a weird one, guys, and I'm so sorry that we're going here, but like, to be honest, in the last week, I've had like just really bad mental days, you know, and it's like, it's so hard for me as a person to talk about my problems, and it's just always been something that's just how it's been for me in my life, right? And when I knew this game was coming up, we've been talking about doing this game for a year now, and it's like one that I've been wanting to do. I can't wait to do. And in the last like week or two, it's like I've just kind of been on this really crazy mental roller coaster where it's like, it's hard to explain like why I just feel like X, Y, or Z way. You know, it's just it. You know, it's like I just shut down and I push everything away, and then, you know, it's like hard to break down the walls. Like sometimes you need to just do these 3 menial tasks, and then it's like, yeah, then maybe I can open up a little bit. Like, so it's like, I think this game kind of does certain things and kind of portrays, I don't know, just the process of depression or like different mental states or whatever, or states of what's the word? It's not chaos or panic. It's distress, like the states of distress. You know, I think this game does a really good job of portraying it, that it's good for anyone that deals with these things, even in like just a social standing kind of way, like a friend or family member or yourself even. Like, you know, it's like there may be things in this game that you will see and you'll recognize, and that may be things that you do or other people do, but I feel like what is so great about this game is that you will notice those things, and they will, that's the goal, right? Is that you will then recognize it. I don't know if it's weird to explain, I guess, but it's just, you know, as somebody who struggles with explaining those things to other people, it's like, I feel like this is a good game to point and just kind of be like, yeah, but like, see, this is how my brain is functioning right now. It's like, it's pushing everything away and pushing you down. It's just like, maybe helping me is like kind of taking a step back and looking at the situation and seeing what I need or other people may need in the moment. Like, I feel like that's one thing that this game does way better, especially in its storytelling, than the first game. Is Raz will do something or come into something, and it's like he's starting to see the effects that he as a person can have on someone's like mental state. Just one little thing can change so much, you know? And the way you progress through this game, finding the mental baggage and stuff and all the different collectibles, which are so fantastic because they show you, I know, I'm so sorry, but like they show you like the pieces that brought this to be, you know, it's just small little things that could be everyday life things that you can start piecing together, like, oh, I see where this came together and why this person is this way or right now.
I want to say something about what you just said.
Yes.
That whole thing about, they really explore how like he can do one little thing and it changes. I feel like they do that once and then they drop the ball on that and they never bring it back. You have that one level where you incept her mind to make her a gambling addict, and then you got to fix it. And then they never really do that again. They go back and like all the levels are, you know, oh, you went in there and you help them fix their attitude, but it's never that same thing. So it's like, I feel like they used that mechanic once and then they dropped it, which is fine. That's what you should do in these games. You shouldn't be using the same mechanics over and over again, but I feel like they did drop the ball on like that should have been more of a thing. But that's
I totally get that. I don't think it's necessarily so much as a drop ball as more of like a storytelling mechanic where it's like you tell him that at the beginning, and then if the character has grown in that moment, he will then move on, and that will be a tool that he has in the future.
I wanna
versus
talk
something
about
that he falls back on and has to constantly get better at. It's like they tell him in that moment, like, hey, there's and I can't remember if this specific conversation happens in that moment, but there is a heavy conversation about like what it means to be a psychonaut in this game, and it's like the immense power that you have on a person's mind, and like what trust it takes and the responsibility you have as a psychonaut. And it's like it all spawns from that moment at the very beginning of the game where you change your teacher's mind, and it's like from then on Raz knows like, hey, you have responsibility and you can't kind of progress the way that he does throughout the whole first game. And it's in that beginning that he changes and grows as a character, because then as you know, we can definitely talk more about the story if we need to, but like
we need to, because the story makes no fuck. I'm reading back through the story and I'm realizing this story is kind of dumb.
No, I think the story works.
No, hold on. What I mean by that is the story works. It's a good story.
Yeah.
The twist doesn't make any fucking sense.
Oh, the twist about the water, what was it?
Yeah,
Lucy?
Yeah. So okay, let me really quickly barrel through this story. So
yeah,
you do that as like act one is that it's a 3-act play. So that first act is going through the first couple brains, going on that heist in the casino, and trying to find out who it is. The second act is you go back and it's like, well, okay, there's a mole and we don't know what's up, and you go and you visit you get Truman back and he's in a coma. You go up and all of a sudden he wakes up and he's like, I'm pretending to be in a coma because there's a mole. You have to find out who the mole is, and only I can trust you. What you got to do is you got to unfracture Ford Cruller and he'll be able to help you find out where Milligan is. And so the second act is that there are, once again, 3 versions of Ford Cruller that need 3 different things so that you can access him, which means 3 different brains you have to go into. And in each brain, it's 3 things you need to unlock that. It's all fucking 3.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, if Mario and Zelda taught us anything, it's do it in 3s.
This is it's gross how much they do it though.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't ever. I want to cheated by it in this game because the platforming in it is fun and good.
Stop 1 second. 1 second.
Yes.
I want to stress.
Yes.
I did like this game.
Yes.
As much as I'm bagging on it, it's just that as we're talking about it, I'm seeing a lot of flaws that I did not when I was playing it. I still am going to give this game a positive score at the end, and I'm going to recommend it. But I am noticing that it's not as flawless as.
No, it is not a flawless.
I think that looking back at our list, 6 is a perfect spot for it.
Yeah. I definitely think this is one of those games that they just don't make games like this anymore. And whether that just be because we've kind of evolved past it and like kind of streamlined gameplay in certain spots, but like
the gameplay of this game is not that much. It's not that much different than Psychonauts 1. It's like it's 16 years later and you didn't really have that much different shit. It's the reason this game is good is because of the writing and the characters, and the atmosphere.
Honestly,
now, like I said,
even
though I was bagging on that the writing can be a little heavy-handed at times, it's still good.
It's good. It's really good. Like
it's good. You don't really once again, I think that Psychonauts 1 is a better video game because it has a better. It's got a plethora of different experiences where this game is mostly the same.
Yeah,
and that would be my only takeaway. Is I would still say Psychonauts. I think Psychonauts 1 is a 5 out of 5. I think this game is less, and I won't say because we say scores at the end. And then I think Rhombus of Ruin is a fart.
Yeah, look, I think this game does. I like the story elements and the writing, of course, way more.
Keep talking about the story.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Go okay. So the second act is basically it's 3 mines that you have to go to unlock 3 separate parts of Fort Cruller, and then you have to do the 3 Fort Cruller parts. And so those levels, that's where you get like. That is where you do the cooking show. That's where you do that bowling one that I was talking about. One of the levels that you do is involves Jack Black, where you find out that this brain was one of the. You're trying to find the Psychic Six, which are the original Psychonauts, but all of a sudden, wait, there was a seventh one. There's this lady who's Lucretia, and you're finding out that Lucretia has some romantic ties to Fort Cruller, and you're trying to find out who she is. And so you do. It's not. I was wrong. It's not 6 worlds. It's 5, because one of the ones is you go straight into it, but then the other 2 is you need to do things beforehand. It's the Jack Black level is all about him being like a fucking Molly based fucking Grateful Dead head. It's all about
he's shutting everything off to the world. He's just falling into the
because his brain has been frozen in ice for 20 years.
Well, yeah. Because of course, well, that's yes. Oh fuck!
I do find it funny that Jack Black will just do basically anything Jack Black will do anything for Tim Schafer.
Yeah,
they made Brutal Legend
that, right?
Hey, there's somebody else who I'll talk to in a second who, once again, Tim Schafer, I'll give it to him. It's like he gets these celebrities and then they're just like, hey, you want to do another thing? And they're like, absolutely, Tim Schafer. There's another celebrity in this we haven't talked about yet, and it's a big reveal. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So, okay, so that's the middle part of the game. All the while you're doing this, by the way, there are hub worlds. There's the fucking base of the Psychonauts. There's the outside where they're based, and then there's a little campground that's very indicative of the first game of the summer camp. And in those parts, there's also little side quests and collectibles to get rank up and get money and everything. So you can be doing all that at the same time. Once you reach the end of Act 2, it locks you into the end and puts you at the final hub part. And so in there, after you have fucking put Fort Crow's mind back together, you find out Lucretia, his girlfriend, is actually Maligula. Who could have seen that coming? And the thing is that Lucretia is from Gruvlovia, the country you're from. And one day she went back because there was some unrest in the country, and she went back and she helped the czar of the country kind of quell a rebellion. And then all of a sudden the czar keeps using her, and she starts putting down peaceful rebellions, and it kind of fractures her and it turns her into the evil Maligula. And that's the twist. And floods and kills everybody. And
country.
Also, and so in there, is that where you find out the next twist, or is that a little bit later?
I think that's a little bit later, because you start figuring out more of the mystery every single time.
So now you know who Maligula is, and you know that he fractured his mind because something with Maligula. So the next part is another setup where it's okay. What we need to do now is get this machine that lets us go psychically more efforts, like the astrolabe or whatever. But we need 2 more minds, and so you're in an area. Of course, it splits 2 ways, and one way is the one about the guy that has the alcoholism because his husband, who is the Jack Black character, has been missing for 20 years, and he falls in alcoholism. The other one is this lady who her whole deal is that. I don't remember what the fuck her deal was. It was like she was sad that they made her counterfeit money or something. It didn't really. It wasn't as good as the other ones. It was kind of. Do you remember much about that one?
She was like, if I remember correctly, she had split personality.
She had a thing about syndrome. Mental partitions or whatever. Yeah, no, she didn't have split personalities. It's just that she had different archetypes.
It was like splitting her into different kinds.
Yeah, because she had on this level.
And once you put them all together, then she was herself again.
Yeah, she has a lot to do with bees. Yeah. It was fine. All I remember about that level is that when I was playing it, I was also watching an episode of The West Wing that was about Thanksgiving, and the press secretary didn't want to let one of the turkeys get eaten, so she made the president pardon both turkeys. And Martin Sheen is really good on that show. Yeah, he's great. Anyway, so you do both those levels, and then that's when you find out, guess what? Maligula's your grandma. But this is where the game doesn't make any sense. So the idea is that this is why I think this one was a little too much of a stretch. The idea is that your grandma the whole time has not actually been your grandma. It's your grandma's twin sister. There's a part where you go in and
she's because Maligula or was it
Lucretia? Maligula
Lucretia accidentally kills her sister.
Correct. And then that's what makes her go crazy and turn into Maligula. And so to battle it, but because Ford doesn't want to kill Maligula because it's still Lucretia, his wife.
Right.
He like brainwashes her into thinking he's her sister, which is your grandma, and then puts memories, it brainwashes all of your family into forgetting about your real grandma and that she had a sister and think it's only you, and then also put into your mind the whole thing about being scared of water so that way you would never ask about Maligula.
Right.
So you've been the chosen one all along, which I hate. I always hate when a story does that.
It's fine.
I'm just not a fan when a lot of things do that. Anyway, and so then you got to find out that you know what we left out is an entire character that is important to this story, which is that after you get out of being an intern, they're like, well, who am I going to go with? Am I going to go with the people from the first game? No, you're going to go to the mail room where there's this guy named Nick, and everyone likes him. It's like, oh, what's his psychic power? Oh, he doesn't have one. He's just really good at being a mailman. And then halfway through, you find his body. Somebody pulled his brain out, and he's just an empty husk. And that's when you put in Jack Black's brain into his body. And there was, I thought it was really weird. It was like such a one-off thing, but it was, once again, they're definitely trying to spin a message. But it was really funny when Jack Black's brain in this guy's body, who talks, by the way, with the voice of Elijah Wood, meets the drunk guy who's his husband and tries to kiss him. Elijah Wood is like, oh, no, this isn't my body. That's not right. Yeah. He doesn't consent to that. I was like, that's cool. You went to, once again, a little overhanded with saying it straight out like that. Right. But I did appreciate that they did do that.
Yeah.
I want to point that out as a good thing because consent is very important. Anyway, so then you find out, okay, well, where's his brain? Oh no, guess what? His brain is actually in Truman Zanato's body, and Truman Zanato's brain is missing. And Nick's actually the fucking mole, because Nick isn't Nick. Nick is actually the deposed prince of the land that Maligula flooded after Maligula killed Groovlovia.
Groovlovia, that's right.
His real name is Gristel Malik of Groovlovia, and he's the one that's trying to get Maligula back so that he can bring her back to Groovlovia, kill all of the people that have taken over Groovlovia, and become the rightful Tsar again, which is Tsar spelled with a G for some reason. I don't know. It's like Gzar instead of Czr. Should have been. It would have been funnier if they just called him Gazar. But anyway, yeah.
The Golden Gazar.
The Golden Gazar. And so then the end of that game is that you go into his brain, and it's like it's a small world after all, but all about how his master plan to do this and kill all the Psychonauts, because the Psychonauts are evil for getting, taking over their land and basically, bringing democracy to it. This guy's a fucking fascist, king of it's supposed to be like Russia, East Prussia, Eastern Europe kind of. It's that kind of shit. That's why it's Tsar, because they're definitely supposed to be like a Tsar Nicholas type of thing. Anyway, so then the end of the game is you fight her, and then she realizes that she's actually Lucy and not your grandma. But then he says, "I'm still your grandma, even if I'm not really your grandma." And then Ford and all in love, and everyone goes together, and that's the end of the game. And they lock up Elijah Wood in psycho jail.
Rest in peace, Elijah Wood. Which again.
He was in Broken Age, and then he was in this. So that's why I was just like, the idea of that was my only hiccup, was the idea of like, everything that happened in the first game only happened because you were the chosen one who was always supposed to end up here. I liked it more when it was just some kid that ran away from the circus and ended up as a psychic summer camp.
I get that, but at the same time, I'm like, it's fine. It's fine.
Like I said, I'm always going to be very nitpicky when it comes to sequels of things I like, especially when it's 20 years later. Sometimes you get it right, like it's Tron Legacy or Top Gun Maverick, and sometimes you fuck it up, like Independence Day Resurgence. Do you ever see that?
No, I didn't have the time to see that.
It's terrible. Or like what was the Pacific Rim sequel with the fucking John Boyega in it?
Oh my god, I forgot that they even did that sequel. What is it?
You ever seen it?
You know what? I haven't even seen the first one.
It's not it. What? You've never seen Pacific Rim?
Nope.
Oh, you should.
I own it. I own it.
Pacific Rim is a very good, like Gundam Ava movie, with there's like this
I've heard
weird
it's great.
side. There's this weird side part with Charlie Day, which I like. Charlie Day. It's Always Sunny is one of my favorite Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah. I didn't realize that he was in the movie.
He's in both of them. He plays like this weird scientist that also loves the kaijus. So his parts could have not been there, and that had been fine. The important part of that movie is Charlie Hunnam, the dude from Sons of Anarchy, Idris Elba, and the lady who I don't think it had been anything, so I don't remember what her fucking name is. But them doing the whole, it's very much an Ava thing of like, finding out what your self self picture is in other people's minds and all this shit. And also it's a big giant movie where monsters beat the shit out of kaiju, or robots beat the shit out of kaiju. I highly suggest it. I don't suggest the other one. I don't suggest the Independence Day Resurgence. And I would say this is definitely not on that level, but I also wouldn't put it up against, like, once again, like Tron Legacy or Top Gun Maverick, where it's like,
right,
you came back 16 years later, you made a very fun game with a very good positive message about like it does have, for all I've been getting on it, I do say it is a very good message about mental health. I'm 100% on board.
Yes.
I'm just saying, as someone who, for those issues, are not a top priority,
right.
I think it's a little heavy-handed to people who those issues are very important. Oh fuck, hold on. I just spilled a bunch of water.
Oh fuck, your computer is dead and now it's my show. And now I get to say the magical words. I got all the platinum trophies. I actually have more now. And Ryan doesn't have any. He just spilled water all over his PC and his PlayStation.
I spilled water.
All of them caught fire.
I spilled water on my kitchen
to the Sony servers.
I spilled water on my kitchen floor, not my computer. I almost said a bad thing there. I have something more than you do. That's all I'm going to say about that. And shut up, man. Sorry. We're going to talk while I was getting water from my water cooler, and I was pressing the button without looking at it, and then we got on a fucking talk, and I held it too long.
Just kept going.
Yeah,
that rules.
Anyway, what I was trying to say is, I think this is a very fun game. I think that, like I said, the story is a bit heavy-handed, but it doesn't like wreck the game. My biggest problem with it is I think the levels are a little samey. That is the only thing that I would say.
I get that.
I would also say, we haven't talked about this in a while, but it's got if you are someone who is not good at platformers but wants to play this for the mental health issue, it's got accessibility options just for you. It's got 3 of them. 1 that I used and 2 I didn't really use. 1 is you can turn off fall damage, which I did because sometimes when you're doing platforming in this game, the camera will shift and I'll fall. And I was like, well, that's fucking annoying. So it's just to not have to take damage from that is great. 1 puts it on what they call narrative story fights, which is the fucking all the combat in the game. Just basically you can one shot everything if you want to just get through it. And then 1 is you're just invincible.
Oh, perfect.
So I didn't play with those last 2. I did play with the no fall damage because, like I said, sometimes that camera was trying to murder me. Overall, we haven't gotten to trophies yet, but I'll hold that for a second because I do have a problem with a small thing on this list. But for fun, I would give this game. I would still give this game a gold. I'm not going to say platinum, not 5 out of 5, but I think a 4 out of 5 is a good score.
To be completely honest, I think I'm right there with you because I think it's totally golden. The writing in this game rules. The acting in this game fucking rules. The story itself
they got back
rules.
All of the original voice actors from the first game.
Yeah.
16 years ago. They still got the dude that does Raz that's like of the voice in fucking everything, which I was watching. Horowitz. Like I said, I was watching a bunch of stuff just randomly on YouTube while I was playing this. I went back and rewatched some old game Giant Bomb videos, like good Giant Bomb. And one I was watching was when they were like, it was a pre-Thanksgiving playing with the Kinect stream, and they were playing Kinectimals, and the fucking voice of the character that tells you all to do is the dude that does Raz.
Oh, of course.
So it was funny. We're like, hey, that fucker. But yeah, everyone, Fort Curler's the same, Sasha and all them, everybody's the same. So that's really fun. Yeah, it's a fun game. The problem I have with the trophy list is that it's got 2 missable trophies. And one of them is very early in the game, so if you miss it, it's no problem. But the other one, I think, is a really annoying type of missable trophy. So, okay, the trophy list is really simple. It is a 100% collect everything. And nothing there is missable. Like, all the collectibles are always gettable. But there's a shitload of collectibles. Like a shitload. This really is Collectathon.
If I remember correctly, it's something like 1,500.
It's something huge like that.
It's something like that. It's like close to 2,000 collectibles for the whole game.
So the problem with that is that it also does so in the original one, pretty much you can go in a world and you collect everything off the bat because there was nothing. I don't remember, but I don't think there were many collectibles that were like, well, you don't have a power from another world that you can't use here yet. There might have been like 1 or 2. The problem with Psychonauts 1's list, which hell, I'll write Psychonauts right now. Psychonauts 1, I would give a platinum 5 out of 5, but its trophy list, I would give a 3 because that is another game with like Psychonauts 1 has like thousands of collectibles, and that one has missable collectibles. And if you don't get them in this one in the Black Velvet world, there's a couple of the figments which are a collectible. If you don't get them the first time you go in there, you can never go back and you just have to start the game over. And that Black Velvet world is one of the last levels in the game.
Right.
And so if you fuck that up, it's like, well, start the whole game over and collect everything. That's a fucking sin against trophy lists. So for that trophy list goes way down for me. This one is not that bad. But one of the missables is at the very beginning of the game when you do the first level and you get to Psychonauts HQ. There's one for going to checking in with one of the characters from their first game before you go to the place you're supposed to go. So if you for some reason don't do that and you have to start again, big deal. You just got to play the first level. It takes about 30 minutes, not bad. The other one is that there's a type of enemy in this game called a panic attack that when you can only fight it using one of the powers you get, which is to slow down time. And so you don't get that until the Jack Black level. So that's like level 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 or 6. So it takes substantial hours to get to it. And that enemy only shows up a few times in the game. It's not like all of the other enemies that show up wherever. There's only a few of those in the game. There's a trophy with that enemy. What it'll do, it'll split into 5 separate enemies. And the trophy is for hitting the correct copy. There's no way to tell which one is correct. It is totally a guess. And you just have to, when it splits into 5, the few times it does it, you just have to hope and pray that when it does that, you get the right one.
You did the right one, yeah.
So the way that I did that is I found out what level that was, and right before I fought it, I paused the game, I saved it, and then I uploaded my save to the cloud.
Smart
and if
play.
I didn't get it, thankfully, I only had it. I got it on the second try, so I got lucky. But still, that could be bad. As far as the collectibles, the big annoying thing for me with this one is that after the game, you have a camera that you can take snapshots. All games have photo modes, right? Well, what they do to help you is they give you a filter for the camera that they say, okay, well, after the game's over, you can go through and by looking through the camera, you can see all the collectibles that you missed. No, the fuck you can't. What they do is that, like, when you're in the real world, all of the collectibles that you missed are these little dotted circles, but you're still at camera mode. So it's like, okay, is it going to show me on the map? No, it's only going to show me if I'm around them. So you just have to wander around and hope you see them. And then even if you do see them, they are fucking minuscule. They're like pinpoint little ones. And so it's like, I'm missing one card on this level. And I realized it was behind me. And I never, because even though it puts it in black and white and it lights up the one thing, it was so small I couldn't fucking see it.
Oh, God.
And the same in the worlds. It does it'll show you, okay, you're missing something in this region. So I'll go in there. I'll look at the camera. I won't see anything. And that's because, the collectible that I need is a 2D thing. And it was aimed so that it was, I was looking at it where it was just like a little slit of paper.
Oh gosh. You were just in the worst perspective you could have been for it.
I'm going to also give, I think that for just the sheer amount, even though it's easy, the sheer amount of collectibles, the fact that there's that one, there's 2 missables and one of them is pretty fucking random. And then clean up afterwards, because there's some you have to wait until the end of the game. There's no way to get everything the first way through. I think a silver, a 3 out of 5 is fair for this list because it's doable and it's easy, but it can be fucking annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very high on this game.
This game fucking rules.
Talking it out now, like when I was done with it, I was like, this is fucking great. I fucking love this game. And now I'm like, this is a good game. It's got flaws.
Sure.
It's still something I would suggest and recommend. I definitely recommend it. It's just...
I hella recommend this game. Go fucking play this game. It rules. Like, when you were saying that it doesn't compare to, like, Tron Legacy or, like, Top Gun Maverick style of, like, you took a long break.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you because I felt like this was the... Look, it's like the when it comes to just the core gameplay, it's like I do understand your... complaints aren't the right thing, but your criticisms about it. Right?
I would say constructive criticism,
right?
Because at the end of the day, I still really like
it's bad. Yeah, it's like
it's not bad. So this game has another stack in Europe, and if I was ever, not now, but maybe a year or two from now, if I was ever to get my hands on a European copy, I would absolutely play it again.
Like, because
I have no problem doing that.
I think that the platforming and worlds, like they might be a little bit more fun in the first Psychonauts, but that's not to say that this is not like, this was the most deserving sequel for Psychonauts 1. Like,
It's a good sequel to Psychonauts 1. I just think Psychonauts 1.
Yeah.
I just think Psychonauts 1 is better.
That's fair. I mean, this game feels like
how about this?
PS2 action platformer.
I'll say this instead of saying it's better. I prefer Psychonauts 1.
That's fair. Like, I think that this game, though, feels like that PS2 action platformer that I've been searching for all year. But
100%.
It was just
100%.
a game that I played at the end of last year instead. So it's like, it's funny that we get to talk about it now. Because, like, I feel like this game, it's like when we played Alice, I was like, yeah, this is Psycho. Like, it was just, it was right there. Hold on.
This game is better than Alice.
Oh, totally. But it scratches that itch of that, like, that era of action platformer that I feel like is missing, and I'm glad that Tim Schafer at least had this much in him, to give us this one.
There is definitely a need in this world for those easy, fun, not technically, or masterpieces. The graphics of this game look like an up. So I played Psychonauts 1, the PS4 up-res, and it's like, this doesn't look that much different. No. Now, there are cool segments where they fuck with, like, there's this part after you do the first 3 where when you do the tutorial world and then you do the 2 with the gambling, you do the real heist inside that casino, and they do a cool, like, Ocean's 11 thing where, like, you're platforming while the screen will cut in half and someone will come in and do some other things. So it's like they do some cool style shit. It's just that I wish they did more cool style
there's
shit.
One in the opening of the game.
Did you say gold? Gold?
Yeah, it's a gold for me. It's a strong gold because it's like, again, it just comes down to those gameplay parts where it's very formulaic, it's very structured in the way that it does its platforming, and it's like, I totally understand those gripes and they're so valid, but it's like, I think this game really kills it in the narrative department and the way it tells its story, and I think the way it even tackles those sensitive subjects in such a great way. I like in the sense of, like, it's very well done. So I take my hat off to this game. I really like it.
I will say this with my mind squarely on Game of the Year. It's not going to win. It's not going to get my vote for the best game we played this year. It's probably not even going to be in my top 3, but it's going to be a strong honorable mention.
Yeah, I think it's. Ooh, gosh, yeah, that's tough. Like because I've been.
I think we definitely played Game
of the Year, and I just
played a lot of.
Wait.
So one of the other categories. By the way, so we do best and worst. We did best game that we played. We did a worst, but we only had the Final Fantasy 14. I want to also add
most. We got a lot more.
We also want to add, if we have enough, I'd like to add most mid game that we played this year, but I wouldn't call this mid. So
no,
I don't think you're going to see any awards from us for Psychonauts 2. I think it got its flowers last year on our Game of the Year list, solely off you. And now I'll say, having played it, I agree with where you put it. I think 6 was I could see you fighting for it to be a little bit higher. Yeah. But now, having played it and talked about it, I definitely think Rift Apart is a better video game.
And that's exactly where I would struggle to put it higher. It's because it's like, I think it's in the same conversation because they are at least of the same genre. But it's like my body wants to say Rift Apart is going to be a better game. So it's like I
challenge you above that. This is my challenge for you in the year of our Lord 2023. I challenge you to play Ratchet and Clank.
Rift Apart. I'm gonna. And then we're gonna get a redemption episode on fucking Ratchet and Clank. And I'm gonna.
What's the redemption? I fucking love. No, that was on Ratchet & Clank 2016. That game
that game wasn't very good. That's why it gets its redemption.
That's probably gonna win. Hey, I'll tell you right now, that's probably gonna be most mid game we played.
Oh my god. Yeah, because if there was ever a game to forget about, it was that one.
Maybe take this part out, so that we don't spoil that.
Spoilers.
All right, that was a good talk. We talked about it. We talked about 3 games this episode in depth. Yeah. One of them really good, one of them really bad, and one of them kind of fun. So let's do that. That was you do. The recommendations from this episode are play Psychonauts 2, play Sagebrush, don't fucking play Saints Row.
Yeah. Avoid it like the plague.
Well, if it's like $5, maybe. Yeah. Maybe they'll fix it.
They need a good platinum.
It's not in August and it's still fucking broken. There was a fucking the Embracer Group who bought it in Deep Silver and everything. They put out like an internal memo that got leaked about Saints Row, and they're like, while Saints Row did far better than expected in sales, we are worried that it has damaged the Saints Row brand.
Ooh, god damn.
Anyway,
you want to speak about you want to talk about damaging brands? You want to talk about Nintendo? No. We don't have the time to talk about Nintendo.
Did they do something bad?
Oh, have you not heard all the stuff with the Smash World Tour and all that shit?
Oh, I thought you were talking about how Pokemon's broken as fuck.
No, I mean that is the other side of it. Like those are kind of the two. That's the two-pronged attack on Nintendo
didn't fucking Nintendo be like, no fucking Smash tournaments, get the fuck out or something? Was it no community tournaments or no tournaments? Period.
That's kind of the thing right now. It's trying to figure that out because there hasn't, as of 10:30 at night on December 1st, 2022.
So you're admitting you're in the Pacific time zone.
I am. Yes. Well, you don't know that. You can't tell that by recording.
How'd you know what time it was?
Well, it could be the West Coast. It could be the East Coast. I could be on the East Coast. You don't know that.
But you said the same time that I'm in, so no, you didn't.
Oh my god.
It's really 10:30. I got fucking work tomorrow.
Well, look, just to do it real sweet and short, if I can.
No, you got time.
There hasn't been like an official statement from Panda, which is the FGC organization that has
Panda Global, the electricity company.
Panda Global,
the previous owners of TNA Impact.
Maybe
are they
the same?
I'm pretty sure that's the same company. Dixie Carter's fucking daddy owns Panda, or is a high up in
Panda Global.
Fuck.
Wow.
We'll talk about TNA. Fuck. Then. Anyway, so they want to do a tournament. Nintendo's like, nah.
Well, they teamed up with Nintendo and to do the first licensed Nintendo tournament for Melee and Ultimate, and then Panda apparently has been going to other tournaments being like, yeah, it would be a shame if your tournament got shut down. You guys should join our circuit instead of this Smash World Tour, right? And Smash World Tour has been going on, and that's been and look, I'm a huge fan of Smash Brothers. I love watching it competitively. I watch it almost every weekend, but I'm not the most knowledgeable thing about the in and outs of everything.
It's a fun party
thing
game
to watch.
Should never have been turned competitive. You ruined Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers is only fun when you play it with 4 people, all items on, and you get it as crazy as possible. The minute you make it one-on-one on the level where you take out all the fun and all the trophies. No items on a flat board. You know what you've done? You've taken a fun game.
You've taken a lot of the fun out. Yes,
you've made it dog shit.
It is still cool to watch.
You're playing a game from 20 years ago, so only 8 people are good at it. So it's the same 8 people. It's like I don't want to watch these fuckers. No, it's so fucking.
It's not. Melee has evolved.
Competitive Smash so much. Is the dumbest shit on the planet.
I love watching it, but here's the thing. Panda has basically been going around strong arming other circuits. And
is Nintendo helping? Is Nintendo cool with them doing that or against them doing it?
Apparently, Nintendo had no information of this happening. Yeah. So now it almost feels like Nintendo has this kind of feels like what Nintendo wanted all along was like the full scorched earth path, which is give someone the license so that person can go around, be a dickhead to other people, and then you can shut them down and shut everyone down at once.
So you're thinking that Nintendo is going to pull out of Panda and there's just going to be nothing.
I think that was the end goal completely. Why
does Nintendo hate money?
I don't know, because
but then they love it because they make the Switch and it sells 1 billion.
Yeah,
and you know what it is?
Goes on. They just want millions of copies. Like
they just want they want your money, and then they want you to fuck off and not talk to them anymore.
That is exactly.
The minute you're like, we really like your stuff and we'd like to do something with it. No, just buy it and leave us alone.
Yep. Hey, you want a new Pokemon game that is actually good? Yeah. No, give me your money. Buy 2 versions of it, and then we're not going to do anything else.
And then the game's broken as fuck. It's so weird because I want to say it's like that Japanese mentality, Japanese corporation mentality. But then Sony just rolled out a thing today that they were putting. It was like, hey, we're going to start doing a thing. We're just doing our own tournament system, and we're going to give out prizes. We got it's like FIFA, NBA, and Guilty Gear. It's like we're just running tournaments on PlayStation. It's PlayStation tournaments, which anyone's allowed to sign up, have fun. So it's like it's definite, but I feel like also that is because the head of Nintendo is still a Japanese corporation, a Japanese man. Sony, while the head of that is still the Japanese Sony corporation, the head of video games for all worldwide Sony is that guy from Guerrilla Games. What's his name? Is it Jim Ryan still, or did they give it to?
I think
Jim Ryan's still in charge of shit, but then the guy that made Horizon, whose name starts with an H, who I can't remember, is like also high up there. And so like he's just like, I understand how the Western world works. Let's talk to the people with money.
That's what I want to say it is, right? I want to think that it's just a bunch of old dudes in a Japanese office who don't understand what's going on. And they just don't understand it, and that's why they just don't want it to happen.
Truth. Here's what happened. Iwata passed away, and it set Nintendo back 20 years.
Yes. Oh my God, you're so right. Because that's the thing.
It was Iwata.
My question. It was just like, what would Iwata do in this situation?
Iwata and Reggie were that is why the Wii generation was so like, let's just fucking do it. It was big. Hey, to collectors out there, if you collect old games like I do, start collecting for the Wii. That's going to start shooting up in price soon.
That's the next one. Yep.
I'm starting to look at games that I like.
The generational path, and we're on the Wii.
I need to play that. I've always wanted to play that game, Zack and Wiki. I need to find a copy of that. I've heard that it's good.
I think I have a copy of it actually.
Oh well, I want one.
Yeah, it's just Nintendo being shitty.
Yeah, it's Nintendo being shitty. Okay,
sucks.
We gotta.
I've got 2.
How long is this episode so far?
We're like cresting 2:30. I think it'll be 2:30 when we're said and done.
Okay.
All right, we got one. I don't know about this email. We're just gonna roll with it.
So here's the deal. Keep this part in. You have told me ahead of time there's an email you don't know about. So we're going to start reading it. And if all of a sudden you just hear fucking a bleep noise, know that this email sucked.
Yeah.
And we'll publicly shame whoever sent it to us.
We will absolutely. And we will say their name and everything because
just the
I
first
know
name.
Who it is.
Oh, do I?
So yeah, you know who this is.
All right, go ahead.
There is a question in here. It's just
do not tell me the person until the end. Read the email. Go.
All right.
Read the email. Go.
Hang on. 3 sentences to get to the question. Let's see if we get the email.
Go.
And this is how it starts. In my search for weird news, I stumbled on the new and improved Auto Blow and its successful crowdfunding campaign. They inputted 7,000 minutes of pornographic, quote, mouth on dick video into different types of machine learning algorithms.
This is a fucking video game podcast.
Again, there is a question.
Read the email.
It resulted in 16 different types of fellatio technique, which they programmed into 10 different experiences, one of which the AI will change its technique for variation until the user finishes. My question for you.
Stop.
Yes.
Is this killer DLS?
Nope.
Okay, go ahead.
My question for you, do you find the new field of machine learning and deep learning as an effective use of video game AI? Thanks, Kieran, aka Nyrak, aka the Knackler, aka that guy who did the one thing for you that one time.
Kieran, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Kieran fell off, man. No, I love you, Kieran. I'm sorry.
Don't say that. That's mean.
Sorry, Kieran.
Okay. You could have picked a different
I love this
example.
question, but at the same time, wow, we got there.
Okay, I don't know much. Listen, I'm smart on a lot of things. I'm probably the smartest person you know. I'm a genius. I'm a fucking genius.
I actually know that's not true. Sorry.
Well,
I don't mean to belittle you.
Who do you think you know that's smarter than me? I'm a doctor.
There was a friend that I have.
I'm a doctor.
He works at the CERN, like on the collider.
Okay, never mind. You're right. No,
so
you got it.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry. Like you are a very smart person, but like my whole life, I'm like that dude that I grew up with. Like he's the smartest person I know.
Yeah.
Like
never mind. I was gonna say
he's over there in Europe doing shit.
Very intelligent. I'm also I'd like to. I'm gassing myself up here. Here. I'm also someone with very good, like, I can put things together. I've got cognitive abilities. But when it comes to like computer shit, I'm a fucking idiot. I not in like use. I'm very savvy in computer use, but like when people talk about machine learning and all that shit, I'm just like, I don't know how it fucking works. That's fucking magic. So like, I know machine learning is cool and like it's also very scary. Is it good for video games? Sure. Like I'd love a video game that learns how people play it and then, tries to fuck me over with it.
Yeah, like I think there would be a really cool application for it. The problem is I think it's going to fall into that other category of like they're going to use that to make the process of making a video game easier versus applying it to a video game to make that video game have like some kind of really crazy like procedural automation when it comes to like like if you're in a roguelite and the roguelite starts picking up that you picked up these certain weapons and like it it could craft the world around your ever growing collection.
But I'm worried that it would be
morphing on top of itself.
I'm worried that people would use it to do the other things. Like think about like, okay, when you say this, I think of like Hades. Think about it like this, where the game can see that you're doing this very specific build, and so it starts throwing out enemies that build doesn't work on just to fuck you.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's why I'd be worried like games are gonna start getting so fucking like, we don't want you to do good, and that's gonna get out of hand.
Yeah, I don't know. That's where I think if you apply it right, I think you could do something really crazy and cool with it. But I think it falls into that category of like, well, we just need to make it harder for you. So we just made the algorithm kind of figure out like, oh, you're playing with the axe a lot. So we're just going to give you enemies that don't die to that.
Yeah. What I don't understand.
And I think that just cheapens the experience.
What I really don't understand, this is the big thing when it comes to it, is why Kieran couldn't just ask that question without using the phrase mouth on dick.
Hey, that is a line that I've now and you too have both said on this show. So to the person out there who is trying to Kieran get us to say certain words so that you can feed it into your like deep thought machine to
not allowed.
Fake us, like
stop this.
Maybe
don't give them ideas. Thank you for your email, Kieran. You are well appreciated at this podcast, you fucking weirdo. All right, what's next?
Hey, and we got a returning email from
emails.
Our friend Duncan.
What's up, Duncan?
It says, hey, Dr. Ryan and Chris. On the Gotham Knights episode, Dr. Ryan mentioned how he disliked doing the gliding time trials because it wasn't fun and didn't earn any trophies.
Hold on. They put out DLC to that game.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't looked at it yet, but apparently they added the 4. You know, it was like everyone thought it was going to be a 4-player game.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we're going to add a 4-player mode. They did. It's not. You can't play the game 4 players. It's that they added like a fucking roguelike tower, and that's 4 players. And so it's like there's new fight the boss in showdown mode. You basically have to get up this tower of 30 levels, and every like 5, you have to play one of the bosses from the original game. And I really like, part of me is like, I gotta fucking do it because now that's not 100% anymore. And part of me is just like, I don't want to fucking play that game anymore.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I wouldn't play that game again.
But trophies. Anyway, sorry.
He continues on to, or sorry, they continue.
Start dunking over.
I don't want to assign anything. They go on to say, I thought this was really fascinating. I thought this was a really fascinating thought, especially in the context of this show, which is interesting. Now, this is me speaking. That's interesting to think about that way.
How so? We'll finish the email and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Podcast questions. Has there ever been an aspect of a game that you overlooked because it didn't include a clear reward? There we go. That's a perfect question to what we were just talking about in the email here. And also, are there any gaming accomplishments that you enjoyed that didn't result in a trophy, which felt like a missed opportunity? Thanks for making such a fun show. All the best, Duncan. Thank you so much for your email, man.
I mean, there's tons of stuff in games that I don't like. In Saints Row, there were all this other shit I didn't get 100% in that game because there was all this shit in the Badlands that I just didn't have to do. It was like, oh, I don't do this trophy, I'm just not going to do it.
Right. Yeah, I think there's
in Psychonauts, you know, I said you have to get 100%. You don't actually have to get 100%. There's all these treasure chests that you can get, and all of that's inside them is money. So I just didn't get them because I didn't need the money after a while. Like, yeah, if it doesn't have a trophy, I don't usually do it. There's sometimes where it's like, oh, I'm having a good time, but I'm doing this because I want to. I will do things because it doesn't have a trophy sometimes. Like, I'm trying to think. Hold on. You say what you're going to say. And
Inscription.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, Inscription didn't have one, and you just played that over a weekend.
Well, that's because I wanted to play it, but now it's on
but
PlayStation,
that's kind of like similar.
That's different. There's the question isn't, are you going to go? I've played games that don't have trophies to play a game. I played Vampire Survivors just to try it out so I could talk about a game of the year. I think what Duncan is asking is, are there parts of a game with trophies?
Right.
It's like, oh, here's some game. And I'm just like, I don't give a shit.
Like the gliding time trials where they didn't have one.
I would say a bigger part of that is when a game tells you, like, there are tons of games where there have been options to play it one way, and it's like, well, there's a trophy for playing it the other way, so I can't. So it's like the first thing that comes to my mind is South Park: The Stick of Truth. Mm-hmm. There's a trophy to play that game where you have to get do the Jesus quest as the Jew class. And so I've played that game 3 times. 2 of the times, the first time I played it, you know, as that class, and then I didn't end up getting the platinum. I just kind of moved on. And then when I came back, I played a different class because I already had that trophy. But then when I played the PS4 version, it was like, well, I have to play that class again. So there are other classes in that game I've never played because there's not trophies tied to them. That game Vampire, there is a trophy for never biting any of the you never bite any innocent civilians,
right?
Which is how you get XP in that game. So if it hadn't been for that fucking cheat where you can use a keyboard, I would have had to play that entire game basically at level 1, but I would have done it because that's what a trophy said. So there's tons of shit where it's like, I would say it's less, is there stuff that you don't give up because there's not trophies? It's like, yeah, sure, but most of the time that stuff, if I'll do it even if it doesn't have a trophy because it'll lead to an upgrade. Mm-hmm. Or like in God of War, there were entire quest lines that I did that I didn't need to do because what did it get me? It got me in-game rewards that I needed so that I could fight a bigger boss. I didn't technically need to do those. I could have used other armor sets and weapons that the game gave me, but I wanted those ones because I thought it was better.
Right.
So I would say, yeah, more to that lane, just like, are there parts of the games that I won't play because I won't have a trophy? If they're not fun, sure. If they are fun, I'll probably do them anyway. What's bigger to me is when the game tells me I have to play it a certain way.
Yeah. I think that, but I guess my question is, when you have those kind of trophies that are as like the Jew class in South Park, right?
You can't say that.
I can't. Why can't I say that?
You just committed a hate crime. I can say it because I'm Jewish.
Playing as then what would I say?
It's fine. I was just playing around.
I know. But that's the thing is like, what do you do for the inverse of that? Do you just make a trophy that is like play as every character but the Jew class? Like
that's
that.
Okay, so that is what I'm worried about with a very upcoming game.
Yes.
Hogwarts Legacy. The trophy list leaked way early.
Okay.
And there is a trophy, and there's 4 versions of it, that's as a Hufflepuff, as a Ravenclaw, as a Gryffindor, and as a Slytherin, make it to the map room. We don't know what the map room is. Is that the first level? If so, sure, great. You got to play the first level 4 times. If the map level, or the map room, or whatever this map room is at the end of the game, am I going to have to play that fucking game 4 times?
Ugh.
I mean, I'll do it because I want to play that game, and then I'll have trophies. It's like, I got to fucking finish it, and it's gonna suck. I don't want. But that's the thing. We don't know yet. Yeah. We're talking on things we don't know.
Right.
It's just a game that did do that and then made me fall off was Borderlands 2, because they have, like, in Borderlands 1 there was a trophy for each of the classes using their powers, and for most of them. Actually, for all 4 of them, you could just pick whatever you want, and then the other 3, you would just start the game, play for like an hour to get up, to the level where you can use it, and then you just use it when we find. Borderlands 2, 2 of the classes, the Gunzerker and the Ninja class, to do their specific trophy, you had to be max level. And so I started playing, it's like, this game sucks, and now I'm realizing I'm going to have to play the full game another time to level up the other person. You know what? Fuck this. And I just peaced out. Which is funny because I love Borderlands 1. I like Borderlands 3. I picked up Tiny Tina's. So it's like, it's just that one game.
I'm kind of interested in playing this Tiny Tina game. Like I
think it's cheap right now on sale places, and I'm pretty sure there's co-op trophies. So we should probably do an episode of that next year sometime.
Yeah, I absolutely think
next year is going to be a very interesting year for what we play, because I got some weird shit lined up. I also just got a copy for $9.99 of MLB The Show with Shohei Ohtani on the cover, because apparently you can get this platinum trophy in about 5 hours, and it's all single player. So what I'm thinking about doing is saving it and trying to platinum it within the first month of baseball season next year, because I think that'd be funny.
That'd be tight. Do it on opening day.
The whole game?
Well, no, but like have it pop on opening day.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Right at the end of March, probably.
Thank you, Duncan, for your... I hope that...
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope that's an adequate answer for you.
The problem is I'm getting to a point where even with, the shitty... I know So I went through recently with the talk of, they're getting rid of all these shitty platinums. And I went, how many of my platinums are really actual games and not just the shitty bullshit? And I went through and it's like, okay, any game that's over about 70% of people getting it, you have to look as like, is this shovelware or is this just whatever? And a lot of games like that Sagebrush game that I was talking about, I would call that a legitimate game, but it has a 91% completion rate. So to some people, that's an easy peasy, cash grab, shitty game.
Right.
But it's like, no, it's just a very easy platinum because it's just a walking simulator. So I went through and I looked, and I'm pretty happy with most of my platinums. I would say of my 16, almost 1,700 platinums, I am positive on over 1,000 of them. Now, in that 1,000 that I'm positive, about 400 or 500 of those, little less than half, are games that are like, oh, it was a puzzle game that I played for an hour, or oh, it was like this, that shitty John Fart game that I played. I'm still proud of that just because I think it's stupid. And then there are a couple hundred, and they're all from this fucking year. Because I also went back and looked, when was the very first of these Pig Deez that came out? And it came out a year ago, last November. But the thing is, one of them came out in November, and then the next one didn't come out till January or February of the next year. It wasn't until this summer when everything exploded and I went crazy and did everything that I really fucked up my profile. But like, I'm proud of most of my platinums, and there are some people out there who I this is going to sound really stupid. There's a subreddit for trophies, and like you discuss and show off what you get. And there has been this really turn of like, I'll post something and people are like, you're a piece of shit. You're a dumb little trophy farmer who just buys trophies. I'm like, I was just trying to make the numbers go up. You're being real mean. And then they'll downvote me. And it's like, you're a piece of shit. And I don't know what the fuck. Like there's these weird elitists to trophies going on now. And the fact that I'm in the top 100 in America means that I'm a fucking sellout piece of shit. And it's like, okay, well, you know what? I'm just having fun. So
yeah,
go fuck
I think
yourself.
once you start letting that like eat at you, then it's like you gotta like reevaluate what you're doing, I guess, you know.
That was a tangent. What I was going to say is I've platinumed almost 1700 games. So like Duncan's question is good, but then I'm starting to think is like, okay, what are some games that, you know, have that? And off the top of my head, I can't think. I have to go and look. And like my memory is one of such that I'm very bad at recall, which is if you just said, think of something right now, I wouldn't be able to. But if you give me a trigger, it's why I think why I'm really good at Jeopardy. It's when you tell me something that triggers a memory, all that information immediately floods to my brain. And so it's like when you just say, could you name a game where this happened? I couldn't. If you're like, what did you think about X game? And then I'll immediately remember everything about it. But then the minute we're done talking about it, it'll flood out of my brain.
That is me on this podcast immediately. Every day. Every time. Every time I get done editing, it's gone. It's out of my brain.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Duncan.
Yeah, thank you, Duncan. Hey, can we...
Wait, we're not done. Where's Tylon Talk?
Well, that's the thing. We don't have a Tylon Talk this week.
What the fuck? Whoa!
Know, right?
That's...
Look, the only thing we have from Tylon is Tylon did comment on the YouTube.
Well, hold on. Is Tylon mad at me?
Oh, well, his comment on YouTube was just, I'm right, you're wrong, video games. Wow. So, I don't know.
In regards to what?
What was the last Tylon Talk? Was that the response when we were like, how the fuck could you say Link to the Past was a bad game? Yeah. I think that was it.
Tylon,
man.
Where did you go, my friend?
This is the first
don't abandon
episode
us.
in a while.
Yeah, it was a good run.
But hey, over. I do have something a little fun to go out on.
Oh, is this your wife writing in?
No. But okay, you know what? Yeah, my wife.
That's the next thing.
My wife.
There we go.
See, was gonna write in.
Yeah.
About how we're using cozy games and how
have her write in by go getting her.
Oh, that's gonna get loosey and then it's gonna get loud. Hang on. Go. Let me see. See if I can do this.
Live write in. Live call in. Caller, go ahead.
This is gonna be funny and catch her way off guard. No, but
caller, go ahead. No, don't say anything.
No, this. See, look,
Soup must speak for herself.
Soup can speak for herself as she comes down here. I do have something, like a little fun.
Okay.
It's our Spotify Wrapped came in for this year.
Ours?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is ours? I don't use Spotify.
But you do to upload this podcast. People are listed on Spotify. It's one of our apps that I guess people can listen to us on.
Let's make something perfectly clear.
Yeah.
You put the podcast on Spotify.
Yeah, I put it on.
I use Apple Music, and Apple Music told me that my top 3 artists of the year were Doja Cat, the Aquabats, and ABBA.
Damn. Yo.
And then a very close 4th and 5th were Ace of Base and Real McCoy, just because I really like listening to that song "Another Night" by Real McCoy. Another night, another dream. I always do. It's like a vision of love seems to be true.
Dude, the fucking 90s were great for trance and house music. But because I upload.
All right, Spotify Wrapped.
Spotify. We got our fun little thing that's like, hey, you gotta You did really good on this metric.
It's like the other, like, is it?
It's the other side. Yeah, it tells.
I thought you were gonna be like, you're gonna tell us who the podcast listen to. It's like, I don't listen to shit on that. That's you.
We're gonna get numbers on
let's get some
how
numbers.
we do on Spotify, and this is something
I don't
want to
share those. I don't want to. Wait, hold on. I don't want to share those numbers.
Nah, I mean, it's not like crazy things. It's like this is tangible and like wild to think of. It's like first thing it says, it's like we've created 3,200 minutes of new content this last year.
Oh shit,
right? Like,
now hold on.
That's without this episode, the next episode.
Stop. Does that count you uploading every episode twice?
No, this is okay. Hang on. This is the thing. In which I thought I'd fixed it because like
you didn't.
I know it was just like it was not even like a week ago. There was a thing that had popped up on Apple where I could actually mess with the RSS feed, and I was like, "Oh, this is the thing I've been wanting for like a year now." And I did something with it, and I was like, "This should fix it," and then it didn't. So I don't. Okay. It's just going to be a pain in the ass until we move servers, and it's like I'm sorry, everyone.
All right. Well, So
this is 3,200 minutes of new content. Cool. That's without this episode or the next two. So that's sure to probably cross like 10,000 by the next by the end of the year or 5 hour.
3,200 to 10. Well, I'm sorry. So we're gonna go from 3,200 to 10,000 in 2 episodes.
Yeah, because dude, the Game of the Year episode is gonna be a long one this year.
Not gonna be 7,000 minutes long.
Could you imagine if it were though? It's just this like 2-week long stream
of that. I got things to do.
Apparently the most thing people listened to this year was the Game of the Year episode of last year, which makes sense.
That doesn't count. That's not of this year. That's last year's.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wouldn't count for anything last year because we released it on the 31st. So
fair enough. What's the number one non-Game of the Year episode? Does it tell you that, or does it just tell you Game of the Year?
No, I think that episode is very clearly the Ratchet and Clank episode.
Really?
I think that and Alice are our worst 2 episodes that we've ever done.
Oh, why?
Well, just in performance wise, they are. But like,
so what was our top that wasn't Game of the Year?
I think I have that. I think it was the Nier episode because it showed the next 2.
That game sucks.
That episode did really well for us though. Also,
disappointed.
The top 5 countries were listened to.
Okay, let me guess.
Yeah, just, number 5. What do you think it is?
Okay, wait. No, I want to go from number 1 to because number 1 is definitely America.
Yes, the United States is number 1.
Number 2, I'm going to say Australia.
No.
Canada.
No.
England.
Yeah, it's the United Kingdom.
Okay. Number 3, Australia.
No.
Canada.
Yes.
Number 4, Australia.
You're not going to get this one. No.
Belize.
No.
Kuwait.
Nope. That would be interesting, though.
The Seychelles.
No.
What is it? Japan.
Denmark.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Danes? What you think about What you think about Beowulf?
Like the 2008 movie that like
no, the 2006? Fucking epic poem from Denmark, you asshole.
I guess that's fair. You know what? I have a copy of Beowulf the game. We should play that on the show.
It doesn't have trophies.
Oh, that sucks.
What's number 5?
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Oh, hey, New Zealand officially better than Australia.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Sorry, I was texting my wife real quick.
If you're from Denmark listening to this show, write in, because fuck yeah.
Yeah, let's hear from you.
Denmark. Are we the number 1 video game podcast in Denmark?
We have to be, right? We are. I'm going to say, you know what? I've seen enough numbers. I think we're just the number 1.
If you're from Denmark and there's a bigger video game podcast, let us know.
Apparently our best week was the second week of April, which I think that makes sense because that was kind of the first episode where we slotted a special episode in.
Yeah, because we did a special episode and a normal episode. It was a double up.
Here's something crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. This may not be like crazy. I don't know. Like, because whenever it said like the number of like you've made this much content, that is like we are in the top 4% of making content of like how much time is being made.
I mean, that top 4% is probably still not a huge amount if you think
right. Because there's got to be so many in the other side.
There's so many.
right?
Well, because probably there are millions and millions of people who put out podcasts, but they're small and they're short and they come out once a month, and that makes up like 95%. And then being in the top 4% is like, hey, you're in the top 4%. There's still a million podcasts ahead of you.
Well, that's the thing is
we're the best, but we're the best one. Make sure you
fall in the top 25. We are the best. We are the best. Because
top 25 what?
Percent of followed podcast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which I think, like, look, we're new, we're small, we're tiny out here, but that makes me feel good. That means there's 75% of podcast people are like, well, fuck that, I'd rather listen to this shit.
Does that include like podcasts where some people made like one episode and then just totally abandoned
I think that it's got to be right.
Listen,
also,
if you're listening to this,
most people like, hey, we also have done almost 50 episodes now. So
between now and next time, it's my birthday, and this is the present I want. I want you to go and tell a friend about the podcast, to listen to the podcast.
Yes.
That's it. Because, we're not doing this for, as I've said before, we ain't doing this for the money. We're doing this for the love of the game.
Yeah.
Just two friends who want to talk about podcasts and one friend who wants to fucking just blather on about the dumb bullshit that only he is interested in, and then another friend, and they just talk about fucking Pokemon card games and Final Fantasy. So it's a really good, really good show. You got any more stats?
We saw numbers went up, really, really good number up kind of thing.
No numbers given. We won't give you that. That's not for you. That's for us.
the like nitty gritty numbers that I'm looking at is like, you don't need to worry about that. Let's see. But hey, like, I guess
we got
there's
someone sponsor us too. Like, dude, that whole thing about we're not doing it for money. Oh, we will take money.
Wouldn't that be tight?
That would be tight.
But yeah, I think those were the big things for us.
Gamefly dropped the fucking
where
ball.
are you at?
I called him Dave Gamefly once, and you have stuck to that for a year.
Yeah, well, that's his name. He works for Gamefly.
That was a reference that you didn't even get.
Oh, what did I do?
No, it's fine. I was making a reference with that to another joke. It's a wrestling thing. You have no idea. Okay. I'm not telling you what it is.
Fine. I don't want to know your joke. Fuck, it's a very good joke.
It's a great joke.
Oh, I'm sure it was a great joke.
Do you know who Danhausen is?
Loosely.
He used to be in Ring of Honor, and he was trying to get the president of Ring of Honor to give him a blimp and a PT Cruiser, and he kept calling him Dave Honor. And so I just like Dave Gamefly, same thing. So now you know. The more you know. We did. Okay. This has been a good episode. We got to talk about how the rest of this month is going to work, because it's going to be fucking crazy. There will be an episode 2 weeks from today.
Yes.
Which is the 19th?
It will be the 19th of December.
That episode is going to be on a game that was just made free, or will be made free when you're listening to this tomorrow on PSN, that we have been wanting to talk about for a while, and it being free just seemed like a good idea. What are we ending the year on, Chris?
We're ending the year on a trilogy of games that you have probably
will that have an effect on this podcast?
It will have a mass effect on this podcast.
That's right. We're doing the Mass Effect Legacy Edition trilogy. We're going to talk about.
I haven't even played one of the games. It's going to be great. I can't wait to give a rating on it.
You're going to play it. You have to. That's the legal contract you signed. You're going to play that game. In between that time, I'm going to try and fit in some Callisto Protocol, some fucking Neon White, and some fucking Crisis Core.
Yo, call me whenever they modify Callisto Protocol to where I can play as Kit Fisto and run around.
Kit Fisto Protocol?
Yeah.
No, I want to be Calypso from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Calypso rules.
You want to come down to my island?
I don't know if you can do that.
Take that out. I'm going to get in trouble.
Just go ahead and say it. Just say it. Just go ahead and say it.
All right.
Just so.
Anyway, so next episode. No, keep it in. That's very funny. Next episode will be the 19th.
Oh, fuck.
A week after that, the Boxing Day for all of our British and Canadian fans, who I now know we have a bunch of, the 26th. That will be Game of the Year.
Yes, that will be the last episode of 2022.
And the week after, this is going to be hey, friends of the podcast, you're gonna be eating good for the next while, because there'll be another episode the week after that, January 2nd, the regularly scheduled episode. And I'll just announce now that new yearly tradition will be our, just like last year, our gamer resolutions and look forward podcast. Yep. We'll be talking about game of the year is going to be a time to talk about the games themselves, but that's going to be a time to talk about, things that we played, including games that didn't come out last year. I'm going to look back and see how many trophies I got, all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be our gamer resolution. We're also going to look forward to what's coming out, what we want to play, and also what our goals for what we're going to be talking about in the next year as per this podcast. This was, I have to say, with the end of Mass Effect, that does end Ryan's year of weird. Did we play enough weird games?
I think that's up to everyone at home to judge. I feel like we've, especially me, I feel like I fucking played a weird game. I played 24 the video game.
Add this should be a category. Let's play weirdest game we played this year, and it could be anything.
Ooh. No, 24 is going to win that one, baby.
No, it's not.
Yeah. I'm going to mail it to you so you can play it.
On January fuck off. January 2nd, that episode will talk about what we're going to be doing, what our plans are for 2023, what we're excited to come out with, what our backlog might be, and we're going to have. This is my also thing. I think every year should have a theme. So this year was the year of weird. I feel like we started weird.
Hang on.
And what?
Let's not give away what our theme is yet.
No, I'm not going to.
Okay.
I'm just saying the theme for this year was the year of weird. I think we did that really well. We did things like Alice in Wonderland. We did things like 24 the game, Alpha Protocol,
Remember
Cloud,
Me.
like Remember Me. We played a lot.
Yeah.
It really was the year of weird PS3 games. What will PS4 and PS5 and PS3, I don't know why I said it that way. What will 2023, that's what I meant to say, hold? I have some thoughts, and we've decided on a theme, and we'll go from there. But yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing for the rest of the month. No episode this next Monday, and then the Monday after that, for 3 Mondays in a row, you're getting a bunch of eps. So I hope you're ready to listen to us talk a bunch.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, was this a good episode? I thought it was a good episode.
I think it was. We're going to end this year at episode 41. Do you realize that?
I don't 41
like that episodes.
41. Ew. It should be 40, but whatever.
Oh, fuck that.
Does this make this 39?
Yes, this is the last of our 30s. We're going into our 40s.
Should we do an episode? Should we do a bonus episode that comes out next Monday also? So that it can end on 42, because that's a joke. Hey, Chris, 42. That's the kind of joke that is probably a joke they made in Saints Row that I didn't hear.
Yeah.
And
you know what? Right. Rightfully so. You shouldn't have been fucking forced to listen to that.
It's a curse what I do, and I play these shitty games. And sometimes I play a good game like Sagebrush or God of War, but sometimes I play a shit game like Sonic Frontiers or Saints Row. But it's what I must do in my mission on this planet. We are on this planet for but a short time, and then we are dust in the wind. And how shall we be remembered? This is how I'm going to be remembered. Because even 100 years from now, when I am dust in the ground, I will still have more trophies than you.
That's not the name of the show. I'm sorry. I'm gonna throw the flag on the ground and say that's not the name of the show. You messed up. I appreciate what you tried to do there. But
okay, hold on. That was a cool way to end the episode.
It was really good. You just stumbled on the 1 yard line.
Can I get a take two?
Yeah, we'll give you a take two.
All right, count me in.
All right, you got 3, 2.
Even 100 years from now, when everyone who has ever known me is dead and ash, to the people of the future, I say this: still, I have more trophies than you. Was that better?
There we go. That was better.
Okay, cool. Right, turn this shit off.
Fuck. Hey, thank you so much for listening to our podcast. If you'd like to send us questions, gaming memories, comments, or if you just want to know when the next episode's going to drop, then you can follow us on Twitter at More Trophies Pod. That's MORETROPHIESPOD. That's More Trophies Pod. Also, you can email us at ihavemoretrophiesthanyou@gmail.com. It's just the name of the show, all one word, at gmail.com. Also, be sure to follow Ryan at Dr._Ryan on Twitter. You can also keep up to date with his Monday night Twitch streams office hours at twitch.tv/Dr._Ryan. That's Dr._RYAN. Dr._Ryan on both Twitch and Twitter. And follow Chris on Twitter at Burezu in Japan. Now, I know what you're thinking. Don't worry, I'm going to spell it out for you right now. That's BUREZUINJAPAN. That's all one word, Burezu in Japan on Twitter. And when they are streaming, you can check them out at twitch.tv/BlazeTK. That's BLAZE, the letter T, the letter K on Twitch. BlazeTK. Thank you again so much, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode.